That was the wrong one. I put the wrong one in my button. I've got to fix it because it will make me distracted if I don't. Let me see, hold on. It's not that one. It is this one. Okay, I have it fixed for the future. Hi, everybody. I am Trooper SJP, and this is the Academic Foxhole. And it's Saturday, and finally, and we're playing The Outer Worlds, which we have not done in a long time, and I'm so excited to be here. Oh, thanks. This was my dot shirt that I got, you know. No, this is not an RPG production. I put the wrong button in, but I'm gonna fix it. Anyway, hi everybody, I'm back. It's Saturday, and I haven't been here in ages because of 1,000 billion things, but some of them were graduations, but I'm back. All the graduations are done. The semester is mostly done. I've got a couple little like minor things to do, but it's mostly finished, and I'm very excited about that so much. I can't even talk about it. And I feel like Monday is going to be the first day of my summer schedule. I have not yet made my summer schedule, but I am going to, and yes. So I've not yet made my summer schedule, but I'm going to do that, and I'm this weekend, and I'm really excited about that. Also, Bargle! I know. I wonder if we're like, will we? Well, we'll just have to find out. Not this coming Friday or the Friday after, but the one after that. We'll just find out. You know, if we get to, you know, destroy Bargle. You know. Anyway, I hope so. I am. Look, I'm really excited for my summer schedule. There's a thing that I took a what's the word? I should not be playing with those. I should be playing with this. I took a productivity workshop a couple of years ago, and over the summer. And they're like, every summer you should start with your summer plan, and you should there's a whole thing that you do where you sort of list out your goals and then break them into steps and then put them into a calendar and and accountability and all that stuff. And I haven't done it in a while, but I'm going to do it this summer because I've got a bunch I want to do. I want to get at least 3 chapters of my book finished, maybe more. And one of those chapters I would like to get submitted to a journal because I'm tired of seeing people kind of take my work. So I'm looking forward to getting some of that stuff done, and that'll be really, really good. Hey, Ice Bunny and Barontor. Thanks, Barontor. Kron says, well, I won't find out again because I don't think I'll have that Friday off game session again. That's okay, we'll fix it though. Should I ask how much got done when you were on sabbatical? I got a lot of research done, but I didn't get as much writing done as I wanted. But I got a good amount of stuff on a new chapter, so that was pretty good. A chapter that I've been pondering. I need to go and work on polishing that as well. So at the moment, I've got a lot of chapters that are half done or 3/4 done, and I need to just sort of go and sort of work on getting those finished. And that is one of my goals. If I could do a chapter a month, that would be great. I don't know if I how finished I can get each of those done. But here's the thing. Part of me feels like I might even be able to do more. I mean, I'm just going to say a chapter a month. I mean, part of me feels like I should be able to get more than one chapter done considering how much is currently finished. But it would be great if I could get a chapter done a month, like one in June, one in July, one in August. That would be really, really excellent. It's aiming to be a 10 chapter book, and a lot of those chapters are very, very farly advanced. I just haven't, finished them. Ice Bunny says, I made it very clear to my Karen that good research takes time. It does, but you have to also. I've turned in my draft and they paid me, so now I'm just waiting until it gets to a point where I can say something about it. That's where I'm at. Also, Ice Bunny, I just feel a little uncomfortable using the word Karen as an insult. It just feels misogynistic to me because we don't tend to do that as often with men, and it just makes me feel uncomfortable. There's just a way in which I just feel it doesn't sit well with me, using Karen that way. You know, yeah, it's not my fave. It's not my fave. So anyway, let me see. What else? Where are we at? Yeah, so if I could get... So my goal is to get 3 chapters done. I'd also like, if I can get my schedule working out really well, all right, also do... we just got bits. Thank you, Rissa. Hey, did those bits fall from the sky? Or did they not fall from the sky? Because I don't know if they did or not, and I didn't see them. Did they fall from the sky? Well, you know what? They did. Oh, good. Thank you. Ice Bunny, I would prefer you not call men with insults that are gendered against women as well. Like, I think that's even worse, right? I think it's even worse to call both men and women, if you want to insult them, a woman's name. I just think that's not good. I know it's all the fun thing to, like, you know, continue making women the worst thing ever, but I wish we just could not do that. I don't like it. I don't like it. It makes me feel uncomfortable. Like, it was a little amusing when it first started, but it has become less amusing. Yeah, it makes me feel uncomfortable, actually. And talking about the use of the word Karen is going to go and be in this chapter that I was working on when I was in Atlanta. So, yeah. At least I know it is working, which is good. Because I've switched up a lot of stuff. Anyhow, what I wanted to tell you was, thank you, Rissa, for those bits. Because of that, I'm going to sing We're in the Money, as sung by Ginger Rogers in the film Gold Diggers of 1933. Hey, I have a question. Sorry, which means I'm going to sing it in Pig Latin, but I have a question. So, those of you who have watched the film from 1933, Gold Diggers of 1933, and the film 42nd Street, which is like 33 or 34, will know that We're in the Money is from the film Gold Diggers 1933 and not from the film 42nd Street. But they made a musical, 42nd Street, which is, I suppose, is theoretically based on the film 42nd Street. But as I have been told, it includes the song We're in the Money, which is not from 42nd Street. It's from Gold Diggers. So my question is, does the musical 42nd Street, the stage musical 42nd Street, does it include the Pig Latin? This is the question that I would like to know. Does it include the Pig Latin? I could probably find this out. But I'm gonna sing it in Pig Latin. And so, Airway and hey the anime, Airway and hey the anime. If we at gale at we at weeks to take gale young way you. Airway and hey the anime. The ice skates are on his side. Only in the ocean pray we are a wood was still way hungry. Briansley, and when we see the only order look at the eye guy right in the eye. We're in the money. We've got a lot of what it takes to get along. Oh, by the way, yeah. And so yeah, I got paid and everything, and you have no idea. Well, I've got to find out. So I'm really excited about. So the secret writing project with a late start. How late are you streaming today? Probably until 3:30 is what I'm thinking. So it's like a good 2.5 hours. Is what I'm thinking about 3:30, because today I have got a bunch of stuff I have to do. I'm going to work on some audio for the Good Society game that I'm starting on Wednesday night. And I want to do some other audio stuff. So I've got a bunch of audio stuff I want to do. And then I've got like a bunch of email, and work email, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so by the way, y'all, I just saw an article that says we have 5 times as many COVID cases now as we did Memorial Day last year. Like last year, everyone's like, "Oh, COVID's almost done," and then I don't know, people stopped taking precautions. And anyway, the point being that we are not in a good space with the pandemic, and I'm thinking about that. Like, I personally am thinking about the ways in which I don't plan on, like, I still plan on behaving as if we're in a pandemic. And I was thinking about this when it comes to, like, faculty meetings and all of that, which feelings. But yeah, as Krellin notes, wear your masks. Right. And next fall, I have to teach in person because we're going back to teaching in person, at least so far, at least. But other than that, I'm going to be like really careful. And, because you got the Omicron that we had from November to March. Oh, no, it's been going on. It's not great. And one of the things I was thinking about with this is, I don't know if you know this, but I had to get tested 3 times a week here on campus, and we no longer have to. I don't think we have to get tested at all anymore. I think it's all voluntary. And I was like, what? So I'm gonna still get tested once a week, because I'm not really seeing a lot of people because it's the summer. I often just don't see people in person in the summer, but maybe here or there. But I'm still gonna get tested once a week because this is ridiculous, everybody. Rissa says, people have also started traveling again. Yeah. A customer I work with went on a delayed anniversary trip, delayed by COVID, to Portugal, and 2 weeks later, bam, COVID. Yeah. And so I had somebody who was like, hey, are you going to travel to Gen Con? I was like, no, yeah, by the way, I'm not going to Gen Con this year. So people are like, oh, are you going to go to Gen Con? Because I'm sure it'll be fine. And I was like, no, I'm not going to Gen Con. There's also this there's this music festival that I've been wanting to go to for ages, but I don't think it's a good idea right now. I feel like everyone wants us to go back to normal as if nothing is happening, but it's still happening. So I plan on continuing to be careful and continuing to be mindful and not take unnecessary risks, because those are my thoughts. Right, here's what we're gonna do, y'all. We're gonna go into the game, and we're gonna go into the game just so that we can be in the game. Oops, wrong button. Be in the game while we're chatting is really what it is, because I feel like that's just the best way to go. Speaking of which, I had a what do you call it? I had like a system update. It's been a lot, but I feel like it's gonna be good. Crown's like, I hate it here. Yeah. Rissa's like, our household continues to mask in public while we've expanded our bubble a bit. Public is scary and did us anyway. Look, I'm a huge extrovert. I love being around people. I like being around people all the time. Interacting with people. It's how I get my energy refill, right? Like, I get my energy refilled by being around people. But I will tell you what, despite all of that, I still don't do it, right? Because I want to be responsible. Oh, I know where we are. Everyone, we're gonna go and try to murder a monster is what we're going to do. Also, however, we are a little bit over encumbered. So what I would like us to do at the moment, we're gonna just like try to break down some stuff that we don't need, because we are just a little over encumbered. Is is the word here. So let's try to figure out what we don't need, and then ditch it. Some of these things are very high level, though, so I don't cannot tell you all the things. Was that a 25, and this is a 29? Breakdown. Yes. I'm not sure if here means the U.S., the planet Earth, or just exists in general. I understand that. This is what, 27? By the way, it really feels to me like, this is not sorted the way I want it to be. Let's sort it by name. Okay, all right. Okay, now we're sorted. PH says, hey PH, ooh, I just Googled our COVID numbers and they've fallen dramatically in the last 2 months. Oh, hey, congratulations. Ours have gone up dramatically in the last 2 months, which is so great. It's not great. In case I was being sarcastic, in case anybody wanted to know, because that was that. Ooh, gosh, flamethrower 2.0. Well, that's exciting. What is that? It's a heavy weapon. It's a heavy weapon that's exciting. I'm gonna tell you that much. But also, just breaking things down a little bit. We're gonna just. I mean, I feel like I could sell some of this for money, but that's not the case. We're just going to get ourselves underweight, under encumbrance weight, so that when we get into this fight, we are... I have a lot of random weapons, by the way, which is fine, but I feel like I don't need that many of these random weapons. It's fine. Where did I get all these random weapons? Probably from attacking random people and then killing them. By the way, Nyoka and Parvati. Nyoka is like a heavy weapon and a two-handed melee. Parvati is a heavy weapon and a one-handed melee. So, let's see. She's a 14. I don't know if we've got anything that's better for her, but I'm gonna just... Look, we're gonna go into a fight, so I just want to check in case there is something that is better for her. Tactical shotgun number 3. That doesn't seem... I wonder if I could use that. I wonder if maybe we might have picked up some better weapons than I currently have. These are things I do not know the answer to, but I thought I could find out. Look, we're going to go into a big fight, right? And before we go into that big fight, I need to make sure that we're ready. This is it. Let's see. Sadly, our cover numbers are on the rise. They are. Okay, going to step away for the computer while Trevor does inventory management, but we'll be listening. Money in a game about capitalism? Weird how it isn't more useful. I mean, I feel like it's useful to, like, pay for upgrades. So, one-handed melee, 729 is what we're looking for. So, I mean, I feel like, you know, that could be something, but... 729. We may not actually have... I don't know. Do we? I can't tell you. Okay, so great for Parvati. Nyoka is looking at almost 2,000 for her heavy weapon, which I don't think we have anything that rivals that, right? So 1947, 621. We're looking for those numbers. 1927, 1621. She's a two-handed. 1621, 1927, 1621. Ice Bunny says, yeah, because you were passing on the Omicron B2 that was making you sick over winter. And now a lot here have been immunization through vaccine and have been sick with it. And that was what the head of the Danish CDC... Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, the vaccine does not make you immune. It only... because it's not it's not like the polio vaccine, right? It's like a flu shot, so you can still get it even if you're vaccinated. And so you still have to be mindful and be careful not to, you still have to be careful. So that's a 621, and this is a 634, but different one. Okay, so it looks like we're good, but that said, I just want to make sure I've got the best thing for me, and it looks like I do. It looks like I do. It looks like I've got all the goodness going on. I just wanted to make sure. Okay, we're going to go into this fight, everybody, and we are under encumbered. We're going to go and fight. We've got some cool science weapons, and I don't know. Everybody, wish me luck. Last time, we sort of died. You know what I mean? Like, we had a death situation going on. So, yeah. Okay. Everybody, here we go.
Nice hit.
I feel, oops, well, hey, not bad. I also need to clearly do that. I should have done that earlier, it's fine. I should move back over here a little bit. Also, y'all, use your special powers. Everybody use your special powers. Special powers? Yeah, use your special powers, everybody, because, there should be some special powers going on. Because we've got, like, a lot of stuff happening right now. Also, this is not my best weapon, so I feel like I shouldn't even be using this, but... But we did it. We killed them. Hey, everybody, we killed them. I would just like to point out that we killed them. And I don't feel bad about that. I feel good about it. Hey. That. Okay. I'm a little surprised that we didn't die, but we didn't, and I feel good about that. Let's take all the stuff. Right now we're trying to figure out what happened on Gorgon. Oh, a tossball card ID. Cool. And I will tell you what happened. What happened is there was a lot of illegal drug use happening because of corporate greed. We found a mining accident. That's good. Wildlife, they can't be domesticated. That's on them. Hey, you know what? And also, if they hang out where I live, they might be killed. Now, I'm actually hanging out where they live, so that's a little bit difficult. But, look, more Adrena time. Look, I'm telling you, folks, this is bad. Do you know what I'm saying? I feel like there's corporate irresponsibility happening, and also I just feel like these companies are irresponsible and bad. There's a lot of Adrena time in here. Like, a lot of Adrena time. Just... Does anybody care about this? No? Anyone? Anyhow, look. Spacer's choice. It's not the only choice. It's not just space. It's not just the only choice. It's Spacer's choice. I just... I think the ones who cared are already just... Yeah. Hey, look. Let's examine this, because it's probably a clue. Okay, let's see. It's not the best choice. Thank you. It's not the best choice. It's Spacer's choice. Accident report. Gorgon Mines. Accident report. Gorgon Mines. Minecart derailed from cargo track during transport, falling a significant distance before striking the ground with considerable force, spilling its cargo and damaging the unit. Cause: worker inability to appropriately manage spatial location, remain cognizant of environmental hazards. Damages: loss of one minecart, delay in Compound X delivery. Loss of this branch of cargo track expected to create significant additional delays. Recommend switching to new mining location to minimize delays and loss of productivity. No resources available to allocate to track repair or site cleanup at this time. Additional hazards pose. 1. Slippage, human bodily fluids. 2. Potential decrease in employee morale, visual, olfactory. Additional recommended actions. Summon garbage processing officer for waste removal. Shut down mine track associated with this site until such time as repairs can be made. Relocate mining operations to another active site. Increase all mine workers' shifts to maintain current level of productivity. Consider placing cones around wet surfaces. I'm going to just note a couple of things here. 1. When it came to damages, they did not mention the dead bodies that are clearly there, what with all of the human bodily fluids around. And being the garbage processing officer seems really bad, since apparently that means getting dead bodies. Which we know because we ran into that fellow who, ended up not doing well, what with all of the dead bodies. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to just say I feel like this is... I just feel like it's bad. I feel like it's bad. I'm also over encumbered again, but that's because I just picked up more stuff, but that's okay. It's all right. I think we'll just be a little over encumbered until either we run into what do you call it? A vending machine that we can sell stuff in, or we have to break down more stuff. One way or the other, we will be fine. I'm not too concerned, but I am concerned about what has happened on this place and why is this our life? I don't know what that thing is. I don't want to live in the outer worlds. Corpses everywhere. So it's super...
I figured the mines were going to be trouble. Didn't think they'd be crawling with mants. Must have gotten out of HIA a while ago. They've been busy here. Something about the tunnels here gets under your skin and into the worst parts of your head. Makes you feel not yourself. In case I don't make it out of here. Marauders. Must have followed me from OCI. Time to make tracks while the mats are busy. I'm shedding some extra weight. It's yours if you find it, whoever you are. You need it more than I do now.
Well, I'm going to note that Lucky Montoya is probably not so lucky. Just a thought, because I think Lucky Montoya's dead. Maybe not though. Like maybe Lucky Montoya's not dead. Maybe we just have, hello little one. Maybe we just have parts of his body parts in ways that he's still alive. I mean, I don't know. Also, I think you're right. There are way too many cannibals. Hi, mining area. How is it? How's it going? I don't think we have been here before. Maybe? I wonder if they were piping Adrenotime into the tunnels. He said it made you feel it yourself. Ugh. you know what? Hey, look, I'm using a bunch of weapons and armor parts because I have been injured, and that feels like par for the course, actually. Look, while we're here, why don't we just break down a little bit more? Just, you know, because for all I know, we don't need all of these, probably. Now, I will feel really bad if it turns out that we did need some of those, because some of those were exactly perfect for some of our compatriots. Like, what is this? Coolant distributor. Huh. Some engineers have just... Huh. I don't actually... Interesting. Could be cool. Could be uncool. I really can't say. I don't know. I wonder if they were piping a drain of time into the... You know, I feel like this company could perhaps be sued for malpractice. Although, I actually don't know if you're allowed to sue corporations for malpractice in this universe. Do you know what I mean? Like, for all I know, you're not allowed because they've got special dispensation. I know, by the way, I was going here for a reason. I wanted to go into the journal. So we are looking at the side quest, a dialogue between dead men. We want to find the clue of the synthesis and manufacturing. Okay. Search for a llama-shaped rock. That's also a situation. Let me set this as active and see what it looks like on the map. That's down here. Okay. I thought dead men tell no tales. You know, that's a very good question. They might. I don't, you know, dead men are so mysterious. I feel like they might tell a lot of tales, actually. It's unclear to me. Where are we headed? Oh, we're headed this way? I don't know about that. I would not be the slightest bit surprised if workers' contracts explicitly prohibit lawsuits. Yeah, see, that's the thing. Me too. Locate facility staff using the comms towers. Okay, so we've got a bunch of stuff to do over there, but we are currently not doing that. We are doing... I suppose we're headed that way? I suppose. Yeah, I guess that's what it looks like. It looks like this is... Although... This llama seems like it might be closer, our llama? Yes, so we're gonna head towards the llama. Okay, and yeah, let's just finish exploring this area and seeing what can be found here. Oh my goodness. The justice system was probably acquired by a mega corporation at some point, and you know, I feel like that's really true. So let's get an overview. All right, so we can travel that way, which could or could not be interesting. Volus, hey Volus, the Outer World's a place where workers have the right to not have workers' rights. Yeah. Speaking of which, I just want to make sure we've... Okay, we've been there. Because do you ever get the feeling that you have not explored everything to its fullest extent? Because I often get that feeling. But I think we've been this direction before. I feel like we've come this way. Mostly because there's a lot of marauder bodies, and I feel like, okay, so I think we need to go back up and around, and that'll get us there. I don't actually think there's room for a justice system in this game, just a legal system. That's sadly probably true, actually. Depressingly. So, I had a really good time playing D&D on Friday. I thought that was quite amusing. Lots of fun. Let me just go and get my pistol out and find out where we're going. Plus, I have to eat food. Not me personally, but, you know, my character. We're just going to head south. And, so south, and we want to eventually hit, if we can, this area here. We'll have to figure out how to get there, but we will see. We will see. You're not a slave. You're free at any time to walk off the job and vacate corporate property to go starve alone in the wilds, where you will probably be eaten by some mutant beast created by the corporation. Yeah. And also, they've got you addicted to Drina time, so how far are you gonna go? Just... By the way, I don't think this is the way we need to go, but I don't think we've been this way, so I thought that we would go this way just to clear out the spot. Also, as it turns out, there are some monsters here, but also, I'm going to need to eat some food, some... What am I eating? I'm eating, what is this? Salt tuna. Yeah, I'm gonna eat some salt tuna. Because, you know, as you do. The real beasts are the friends we made along the way. You know, and that is so true. Oh, hi. Get out of my face. And why are you all not fighting? You all should be fighting too, because, like, you're my friends, and you should be fighting. You know what I mean? Like, there should be fighting going on with you all.
To shreds, you say?
Are you... I feel like I've been hit with something. I have been. I've been hit with something. What? I don't know, but I'm looking kind of... I'm feeling weird. Look at my... People? Is, anyone else? Like, I'm feeling kind of weird. Or, like, anyone? Who's that? Isn't it nice to not have a moldy dog food? It is. Moldy dog food might be better than salt tuna. It is unclear. Krellin says, I just realized that salt tuna is probably a hybrid of salmon and tuna, not really salty tuna. Oh. You know what? You're probably right. You're probably right. PH is like, you're probably just hungry. Salt tuna, salmon and tuna. Satuna. Salmon? Surely moldy Sturstroming is what Corpo would offer to people. So, I am going... I don't... Yes, there was some lovely nostalgia playing our old school, and I'm excited to go and finish it up after 2 weeks' time, find out what the word is, and I'm going to just, like, investigate this area. I don't know what we will find here, probably monsters, but, That's pretty, by the way. I'll just note that. We can't go there, but it is pretty. Also, I really should be using my pistol. It does insane damage. Ah, there we go. Y'all, how... I think this way. it feels really weird to me because I feel like we've been everywhere on these maps, but then it looks like we just haven't been, which is so odd. But it is. It is. It is. It is what it is. Do you hear do you hear monsters? Because I feel like I hear monsters. Okay. Wherever you go, there you are. Buckaroo Banzai and the Adventures in the Fourth Dimension. Good movie. I think it might have been just that little thing. The little... Those ones. The little cute creatures. They're fine. They're not big monsters. I think we're okay. I wouldn't worry about it. So anyway, I'm excited to go and finish it up. Do the second part of that solo adventure. There are other solo adventures RPGs that I really want to do that I've been excited about as well. A bunch of them actually. I really want to do Ironsworn and Starsworn. Space Sprat. PH. You're right. Sprat is Space Rat. And I hadn't ever realized that before. And now I feel silly for not having realized that. That Sprat is Space Rat, and that should be very obvious. I'm disappointed in myself. 8th dimension. Thank you, Krellin. Thank you, Krellin. Oh, but the Saltuna nudge your brain. Hey, do you think these people are friends? They're not friends. You know, sometimes you just want to see a group of people hanging out, and you want to be like, oh, hey, look, friends. And you want to chat with them about, like, happy times. But then it turns out that is not the case. Here, do that. And that makes me a little sad. Ooh. You know what? I'm really glad that my friends can be so violent, you know? Oh, hi. You know what? Oh, I died, everyone. I just want you to know that I just died. I probably should have saved at some point in time, but that's okay. That's okay. I was being sloppy, and that's what happens. But watch out for rodents, space rodents. Thank you, Rissa, for that death. It was Leviathan. It was Leviathan, which, by the way, is a good game. It was a good RPG. I enjoyed that very much. Where are we? Y'all, this is what happens. This is what happens when you don't save obsessively. You die and are sad. Okay, I know where we are right now. So we did that. We have to just do the walk around and I think we'll be fine. But remember, next time, I'm just telling myself this, we have to save. We have to save. Come on. Okay. Yes. That's it. So anyway, there's Ironsworn, and I kickstarted the Starsworn, I think it's called, and I really want to play that. I want to stream that. That's a solo. You can play it not solo as well, but I really want to do both of those. I want to do a bit more Tunnels and Trolls. Yeah. We have to. Am I winning? Well, I just died, which I think is technically not winning, but we're going to go back and not die this time is my goal for this situation. Hey, Max Ryder, how are you? We are going to not die this time is the plan. So here are the people that killed us last time. So we're gonna save. Nope, that's not it. Yes, we're gonna just save right here, just at this moment. And we're gonna try to die less. Is our story? Solo Call of Cthulhu. There are a ton of those. Are there really? I'll have to go look. I ran myself through Grimrock Island years ago. Weird and poorly written, but interesting, and lots of side things. Oh, interesting. The only way not to die is to never be born. True, but there are better times to die. Isn't there like so if I'm here and then I'm here, so from here I go automatically to here, which is not like ideal, but y'all, we're gonna try again. What if when you were never born, weird things happen though? Do you know what I mean? Like, what if... Hi, we're gonna shoot this person in the back of the head. I missed. Oh, actually, I don't think I did. Let's do that, and then do this, and then do this. See, I've got all these bonuses. If I, here, do this. I have all these bonuses if I use my pistol, so I've got to get to my pistol because it gives me big bonuses. I just have to get there, you know what I mean? And not here. Here we go. Like, I can make them cower and things like that. Ooh. Hi, Crackshot. I have to tell you something. It's this. Oh. This person is running, which is interesting. I mean, they can do that. I would prefer they didn't, but, you know. Why are you running away? Here. That's it. We just did that. It's fine. It's fine. There we go. Let's we need to come back the way we came, which is not this way. Also, there are more killers out there. Which way did we come in here? I need to look at our map. Sorry, because we came in this way, I think, because I want to loot everyone is really what it is. I don't want to be without having looted everyone. It would make me feel bad. Let's see. I'd love to see alternate reality, see what bad impacts my existence has made. I imagine that's so hard to sort of judge, right? Because I imagine we impact people all the time in ways both big and small. You know, just saying hi to someone probably also impacts their life, and you never even know. Yeah, I feel like it's just really hard to know all those ways, right? How you impact someone or not. Which, in some ways, I feel like is actually a little exciting, because the way I think about it, as long as you interact with the universe in some way, you are impacting the universe in some way. I think that you are always impacting someone, always, in some way. However, just by there's a lot of blood in here, everybody. Just by interacting with the world, you impact the world, and you change it. You know, even I suppose quite literally, right? In the sense that you've got molecules, like, you know, like, you think about this, like if I speak to someone in person, sound waves that I have generated exit from my body and then those sound waves will physically, right, physically interact with them and change the molecules on their body. So we're always, I think, changing people and interacting with them and impacting them in lots of different ways. And I think that is, big and small. Like I think we're always doing that, which means I think we should always be sort of mindful of the impact we have on other people, because I think it is significant. Is my hippie take on everything. Speaking of which, there are people here, so we're gonna just we're gonna go and save. Let's see. In a Haster game I ran, says Max, anyone who died or went insane disappeared into Carcosa that never existed. Only the others directly with them remembered they'd ever been. Have you read The Lathe of Heaven by Ursula K. Le Guin? It's good. Krell says, what if I was never born, and then my brother dies when we fell through the ice in the lake because I wasn't born to save him? Well, see how it is? See how it is? See? I saw that movie. Printing presses are anathema to Yog-Sothoth, says Krell. Well, this is, how come cult members who worship Yog-Sothoth and haven't printed coloring book versions of the Book of Death to drive humanity mad and bring them back, and bring back their scaly sugar daddy Cthulhu? It's entirely possible that actually people might not be able to make it through that process, Max Rider's like, Delta Green, they've tried. Krellin, we are a way for the cosmos to know itself. Ooh, that's a really interesting thought, Krellin. As said the man Neil deGrasse Tyson wishes he was. I've not read this. I haven't read too much Ursula K. Le Guin. Oh, it's a good one. You should read that one. By the way, have we saved? Because if we haven't, we should. I feel like we haven't. So now we will. Yeah, no, she's great. She's really... she's very good at what she does. Oop. All right, I just need to... Oh, hi, how are you? That was some excitement. Here, do your thing. Everybody do some killing. She's really good. The Left Hand of Darkness is about a man whose dreams change reality. And, he doesn't like it, so... He's cowering, so... Oh, hi. How are you? Do we have more enemies? Oh, here. Somebody go do some killing. Do some of that. Okay, everybody get back up. Sorry about that, Nyoka. You got killed. Alright, so, we killed some people, which is always a healthy thing to do, and... I mean, I don't know if it's actually healthy, but, did you all ever, I'm just looking at this person's body and the way that their leg is, and it makes me think of, Max Payne, right, which was one of the first, it's one of the first games, at least I remember playing personally. I'm sure there were other games that had, that really intense ragdoll physics, and so, when you shot someone and they went flying, their bodies were always so weird. Do you know what I mean? They were always a little yeah, the body, watching early ragdoll bodies fling about was an odd experience, because I do not think bodies are actually like ragdolls, so it was a little weird, is all I'm going to say. We're also... Oops, sorry. We're also going to save while I catch up on chat, because Why wouldn't I? My friend Bridget Jeffries was in the Hostur scenario. Oh, she was the pregnant wife of a senator who didn't make it back. She'd been having an affair with his aide. When they returned, she was no longer connected to the family. They had no idea where she was, and only the few people remembered her, who remembered her were the most people. Oh wow, who she was with most people that she knew. Wow. Friendly fires. Nothing a sincere apology won't fix. That's true. Actually, I think that's actually fair. Um, a party will forgive a misplaced fireball, but not an unlooted corpse. That is also true. And I feel like we all know this to be the case. Also, I really feel like I've been through this area before. And maybe I haven't, but I feel like I have. And also, for the record, we've hit a little bit of encumbrance again. So we're going to just do some spot... what's the word? Destruction. Just like the tiniest bit that we can get away with until we can sell things, right? Because you can sell them money and commerce and capitalism. Yeah. Ooh, was she still pregnant? That's a good question. Oh, hey, DSB, how are you? I don't know if somebody does not like Spacer's Choice. And honestly, I think that's fair. I feel like not liking Spacer's Choice is a rational thing. Also, I really feel like we've been through here. Okay, so let me ask, any of y'all, Max Payne, yes, no? Played it? Thoughts? Feelings? I'd love to get this person ahead, so let's do this one.
Here we
go! Somebody use your special powers. Yeah, go do that. Also, you use your special powers. Everybody, use your special powers. Oh, nice. That's good. Everybody's dead. I don't know. I'm aware that Max Payne was the first game to do bullet time. It was the very first one that did bullet time. That's, and so it was very innovative. Gosh, I played it on the original Xbox. It was, it was a while ago, wasn't it? And what would happen is that when you could do this diving dodge where you would dive, and when you dive dodged, time would slow down, so you could while you were mid-air, you would shoot lots of things. It was very dramatic. It was also a noir detective game, so there was that kind of voiceover. There were also drugs involved. What is this place, by the way? That's gotta be. She was pregnant with the baby of the aide originally. When she came back, she was still pregnant, but he'd never met her now. Ooh. Awkward. Well, that's why you need the Maury Povich show, right? Because then you could be like, you are the father! Pick up the package for Captain Babbage. To Captain B. Babbage and crew from a friend. Handle with care. Okay. But I think yeah, but what is the package? Also, what is this place? Did those marauders steal the package? I have questions. Oop, I also did not mean to do that, but it's fine. she was no longer attached to a rich family, but a down and out artist. Oh, interesting. It made Pancor Jackhammer popular, which was perhaps the worst shotgun ever created. The scenario took place in the 70s. Carl says, was that also how she found out it was the aide and not the sitters, or did she already know? Interesting. Max says, what was kind of cool was the guy who disappeared was a fictional sitter from New York, so when he never existed, that meant the actual person who had the seat was there now. Oh, that's very cool. That is very cool. I love when things like that happen. Speaking of which, we should probably eat food at some point. But, again, we will, I suppose we'll just find out. I hope you are all proud of the fact that I am keeping, for the most part, under-encumbered. Although, to be fair to myself, I tend to not be as encumbered in this game. Is it because my encumbrance is epic? I have epic levels of encumbrance? Perhaps. Perhaps it is. That may be. That may be. I can't say. But that said, how many armor parts do I have? I feel like I probably have... What is this? Armor parts and weapon parts. Oh, you know what? I don't have as many armor and weapon parts as I would like to have. So we're not going to sell stuff. We're just going to break it down. That's all. She'd been told she was barren and the senator had not touched her in months, being up for re-election, not having time. Turns out she wasn't barren, obviously. He was sterile, but his doctors kept living. She was barren. Yeah, that is typical, actually. Y'all, I don't know if I've told you this, but gaming is awesome. All right, where are we headed? Let's check our journal. Rendezvous at Llama is right over there, which is not that far. But we also had a dialogue between dead men, which is at the same spot. So that actually feels very practical. So let's just, yeah, we can knock these things out pretty easily, I think. Yeah, let's do that. I feel good. Trooper, I blame you for my desire to own the Look, if I could get an actual red box, you know, like, maybe on eBay. I mean, I've got some weird things on eBay, so it's entirely possible that I could get the red box on eBay for maybe not an outrageous amount of money. That would be very cool. I think I'd like it. But oh, I was saying this last night, but I will share more thoughts on this here. So if you look at you in the original Holmes box, wow, that is awesome. If you look at the oh, which one is it? It's you ever got the red box with that series of you didn't? There was some good stuff in there. One of the things I really liked about the box, the basic D&D, wasn't expert. I think it was it expert? Was it expert? Expert box came with the Isle of Dread as its default scenario, and it talked to you about exploring wilderness exploration. That was that one. Yeah, I got my mom to get it for me when I was 13. I keep my stuff nice. If I could get a red box. Oh. C is, yeah, and Master of the Immortal. C was, companion?
Name game.
The name game. Come on, everybody. I say, now let's play a game. I bet you I can make a rhyme out of anybody's name. the first letter of the name. I treat it like it wasn't there. And then a B or an F. Or an M will appear. And then I say Bo at a B, then I say the name, then banana, fan, or info. Then I say the name again with an F, very plain, then a Phi, and a Mo. Then I say the name again with an M this time, and there isn't any name that I can't rhyme. Half-house hermit, half-house hermit, half-house hermit, half-house hermit, banana, fan, half-house hermit, Phi, farm, half-house hermit, half-house hermit, the name game. Woo! Half-Arsed Hermit, thank you so much for that resub. It has been too long. How are you? How are you doing? You know, I was just thinking about you. And I was thinking about how awesome it was and how grateful and thankful I am that you agreed to run a German language Call of Cthulhu session for me. And I am just like, thank you so much. I really, really appreciated that. And, you know, thank you. Thank you. Immortals, Companion Masters Immortals. Overage underpaid, but aren't we all fair? I might run an English version of this setting at a con next weekend. Oh, Half-Arsed, that would be so amazing. Would you do me a favor and then report back if you do and let us know how it went and how everybody, how it went? That would be really amazing. Krellin says, by the way, Trooper, those lyrics were to the tune of, if I could get a red box, maybe find it on eBay, I'd have myself a solo adventure day. Yeah, it's good. I like that. Hello, Jer. Oh, internet issues. Ooh, internet issues are bad. So I can't remember if it was expert or companion. I cannot remember if it was expert or companion. If it were. If it was, because it's not actually subjunctive. I cannot remember, but was it expert or was it companion? I think it's companion. I think it was companion. That so here's the thing, and this is a thing that I think is super, super interesting. Personally, I'm very excited about it, and that is I think it's companion. Yes, I think it's companion. Yes, Krellin, that's the one I think. They had a whole conversation in companion about, and this is really interesting because, for me at least, this conversation is not happening anymore. Right, like this is like a conversation that people are actually thinking about, and I do want to think about it. Getting up here is going to be somewhat difficult, it looks. I'm going to have to sort of make my way around all sorts of, because of the topography. I might have to port myself up here and then travel all the way down. No, because that is too high. I need to get to this level. Which actually, you know what? I'm not going to worry about this right now. I'm just going to give these folks their stuff. I'm gonna just give them their stuff.
Any luck tracking down that llama?
Yes.
Technically, it's the package I'm after, but you get what I mean.
Yeah. I found this sitting by a llama-shaped rock. It wasn't really that llama-shaped, though.
That's it!
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to rub this in my dumb captain's face.
Well, let's listen quietly.
See here now? What's all this talk about?
We got the package, and guess what? It was where I said it would be. And this fossil? It's not a llama. Not a llama at all.
I believe I owe you an apology, First Mate.
What?
It's true. I wouldn't know an alpaca from a raptidon, and as a captain, that's a mark against my good name. Can you ever forgive me?
Llama.
I don't know what to say.
Oh.
I'll start. Thank you, stranger.
I want to say something about the companion set. A good captain knows when to admit they're wrong. Well done.
I suppose he's right. Maybe I was too quick to dismiss your leadership, sir.
Oh,
First mate, let's say we put this awful business behind us with a
don't know
round
that
at the
way.
Sprat Shack. First one's on me.
oh,
Llama.
Here's my cut. I'd say you've earned it.
oh. Well,
And
thanks.
here's a little something extra for your time.
Oh, great. Thanks. Appreciated. Great. The pleasure was mine, first mate.
Be seeing you, and thanks again.
Llama.
But I got a bone. Well, nice. Okay. Also, apparently, I need to eat food again. All right. So, the thing about the companion, this is the thing I really want to talk about. I think it's super, super interesting. At least to me, it is. Also, by the way, we're going to have to figure out how to get where we want to go. And I think we're going to have to fast travel because we want to get here. But if you look at the topography lines, right, the elevation lines, there are not a lot of ways, I think, to get there. And I'm not even certain. This is the lower exterior, which I do not think will get us there. I completed so many quests last time, kind of, sort of, more or less, kind of, in a way. This is the upper exterior. So I kind of think I am not 100% certain the best way to get where we need to get. Oh, it was just like it was yesterday. Let's go to the Gorgon Ruins and see if we can make it through that way. And then once we do that, we will... Yeah. Okay, so this is what I want to tell you. It's a thing I thought was really... It was a thing that I actually really liked about the companion box when I got it. And I'm pretty sure it was a companion box. And it's something that I do not really see in D&D anymore. At least it's not really... I don't see it. And to be honest, it wasn't necessarily even in AD&D that much, to be honest. I don't want to head north. I want to head south. So what it was in the companion box, once you hit X level, 10, 15, 10, 10, 15, a level around that time period. When you get to the companion box, what it said was that once you get to this sort of level, you've gotten to a point where you're really quite powerful. And they said that every person in this moment has to think about if they're going to continue being a random wandering rover or whether or not they're going to basically settle down and to do other kinds of work. And they said that with the sort of the implication that...
Here we go.
Excuse me? With the implication that maybe you should be, Oh, hi. Also, my friends should probably do their thing. With the implication that it's a natural... That basically, once you get really, really powerful... Oh, hi. Once you get really powerful, you are probably going to actually... Oh, my friends are actually awake. Cool. Oh, I am injured. Just thought I'd say that. Hi. I have to tell you something. It's a surprise. The surprise is... I'm going to shoot you. Are you not going to help? Like, we're still in combat, my friends. Why are you just walking around? Anyway. First edition AD&D had rules for classes getting holding as followers. Yeah, but they were really well developed in Companion. Yes, that was in AD&D. So something you're supposed to build a castle or a guild or something. You also attract followers. Yeah, that was really, really emphasized in the basic edition. And they actually talked about it specifically in terms of, in basic, specifically as part of a progression of what happens when you become more powerful, right? Like, basically the idea that once you get to a certain level, it would be kind of weird for you to just continue to wander around. It would just be a little bit weird. And that at that point in time, you probably really, really should be thinking about attracting followers and building a keep and a household. Yeah. See, ADD writes off the paragraph, but like in the companion box, it's really dealt with in much more detail. They really, really sort of go into it and they talk about it and they think about it. And I found that really cool. And there was something about that also made sense to me when I read it as a young person, because once you get to that level, also, I've got to say this, it also made your characters feel very,
Sure. Translate into which language?
No, Siri, I'm not talking to you. I didn't even say anything to you. I don't even know why you were talking to me. Siri, why? I suppose what I'm trying to say is, I've always felt like the way that, I mean, at least, look, when we started off playing D&D, at first level you were so weak. You are so weak. You know what I mean? Like, you are very, 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 very weak. And by the time you get to higher levels, you feel very, very powerful. And it always felt very strange to me that you get to this level and you just continue wandering around and you wouldn't have people be interested in who you are or you know, yeah, it felt strange to me. And so when I read those rules for companions, they made a lot of sense, right? They made a lot of sense to me. They made me think, oh, right, yeah. Oh, yeah, that makes sense, right? That seems to be the way this would work. Once you got to be a high enough level, it seems like the next logical step for somebody who is that powerful, who can do a lot that most people can't do. And that, for the most part, has been dropped out of sort of, well, from 3, I didn't play 2, but from 3 onwards, that idea basically was just dropped for the most part. It wasn't really supported or talked about very much. And Krillin is quoting AD&D. When a fighter attains 9th level, thank you, Lord, he or she may opt to establish a freehold. This is done by building some type of castle and clearing the area in a radius of 20 to 50 miles around the stronghold, making it free from all sorts of hostile creatures. Whenever such a freehold is established and cleared, the fighter will... then 2 items, attracting followers with no specifics, and getting a revenue of 6 silver pieces per person in the freehold. Yeah, I remember that, because I remember actually building one, right, in AD&D, but in Companion Basic, it's by class, right? You get different types of, like, they have a whole bunch of information about the kinds of people you get based on class. If you're a halfling, you get this. If you're a dwarf, you get that. Like, if you're a magic user, you get that. Like, a lot of really specific, detailed things that were very, very cool, and I really liked it. Bola says, Cleric reached level 15 and their sponsor asks a monument. Cleric builds a portable toilet and is branded an Oathbreaker for the rest of the campaign. Hey, I will tell you what. That was hardcore in... am I going the right direction? East, yes. That was hardcore in AD&D. I remember and would like to note that in AD&D First Edition, they talk about where you get your spells from if you're a cleric. Specifically, and this is important because if you break your alignment or you go against your cleric and you lose access to your deity, it points out specifically which spells you get access to and which ones you don't. Like first and second level spells, I think basically are internal to you, so you don't lose those. And then like third and fourth level spells is like a minor angel gives them to you. But like certain spells are granted to you specifically by your deity. Like specifically. So you're actually talking to your god personally to get those praying, like, and the god itself is giving you those abilities specifically. So if you break your oath to your deity, you just don't get access to those spells at all. And that became important if you're playing Ravenloft, for example. You know, if you were to do such a thing. And that also sort of emphasized to me how special high-level characters were. Because most people don't get to talk, okay, this is where we're at right now. I don't know if this will get us where we want to be. We want to be here. Well, let's see what we can discover. See, the problem is, yeah, I know what I'm thinking in my mind. The problem is the difficulty of, right, I want to go the opposite direction. I want to go this way. All right, here we go. Also, that's a neat looking space up there. Minor Angel, I know I'm only 9 years old, but you seem so nice. Here's Gust of Wind, right? Yeah, so look at that space up there. Have we been up there? I bet that's where we have to go eventually for our quest. It looks pretty cool. Anyhow, what I wanted to say was, so I thought that the sort of getting a freehold, right, getting followers and all that really emphasized how powerful you were at that level, and I really enjoyed that quite a lot. It was something that I thought was good and positive, and I think a lot of the other D&D games editions have just really lessened the emphasis on that, which sort of keeps you a murder hobo the entire time, and that is, I need to figure out how to get to that level. That is less exciting to me, you know? So I need to get up there. I wonder if we can get there by walking up this pipe. I suspect we can't, because they don't love freedom, but, you know, we can only try. Because I feel like the answer to that is no. Also, I feel like if I keep doing this, we're gonna die. So we're gonna save before we fall off and die. That's just gonna be it. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I was telling you this whole thing for a reason. The reason why I was telling you this was, so we'll die, I think, if we go that way, so that's no good. It does not seem as if we can climb up this pipe or get there from here. This is barred, so let's try walking around. If that doesn't work, we'll try a different fast travel. I wonder how many people actually dealt with the fact that there were only 13 druids higher than 11th level in the world. Only one of them was 14th. Right, this is also part of what I'm talking about, Krellin. that there was this real sense that those levels were really intense and powerful and like impactful and important. And I sort of think that having no transition from one sort of life to another does not really emphasize that. Do you know what I mean? I think, yeah. So anyway, this was what I wanted to bring up. What I wanted to bring up was, I do want to, I want to run some old games because I'm interested in them, but I have a conundrum, and the conundrum is, okay, this is taking us up. I want to get here. I want to get, well, let's follow this around and see if we can find a way there that does not involve just jumping off of a cliff, which I am not opposed to be honest. I have never been opposed to jumping off cliffs. I can do it. Doesn't upset me greatly. And I feel like this is where we came in, right? So, here's my conundrum. My conundrum is this. Right, that is not going to get us where I want to go, I don't think. I want to get here. Well, you know what? What I'm going to do is I'm going to fast travel there and see if that will allow us to get to that spot. Otherwise, which I don't think it will, actually, but that's... We'll see. Vola says, how often some deity has cursed an innocent necromancer with clerical powers and poor souls to form a party to lift the curse, and whenever healing and such is used, a river of tears flow at the cleric's cheeks. Oh. Now I want a character that can say the line, I play the conundrums. Well, I imagine it would be a cleric, sorry, a bard, right? And that's very bard-like, I suppose. Oh, hey, guess what? There are killers around us. Okay, that's not what I was expecting. I was expecting to get to this map. You know what, though? That was the wrong button, but, fine.
Here we go.
Excuse me. Pardon me. We had some shooting going on there. Oh, hi. You know what? As while we're here, my friends should do their stuff. You know what I mean? I feel like that's what should happen. Bard, right? I feel like, absolutely. Because the thing is, oh, hey, hold on a second. Let me do that while we're here, because, I've got, oh, gosh. I always had to recharge, which was awkward. Y'all. Why are you not fighting? Why are you not fighting? Have I put you on some kind of passive AI? Because I really shouldn't.
I am a storm.
Yeah, where are you all at? A drug addiction? No, I don't want that. That's no fun at all. Hey, I'm concerned about their AI. Bard who looks like Arnold and says one-liners and bad jokes. Yes. Hey, Nyoka, I'm concerned about your behaviors. So you are mode defensive. No. No, I don't want you to be defensive. I want you to be aggressive. Thank you. You should be aggressive. Be aggressive. Be aggressive. Also, why are you defensive? Once total attack, the target, the companion continues to fight until it comes over. Okay, yeah, you should be aggressive too. Let's have them be aggressive for a moment, because I am not enjoying what just happened there. Them just hanging out while I was being physically assaulted by a marauder. It seemed not ideal. Barbarian. PH is like, well, that's half my characters. That's right. PH likes playing beefy tanks. Right? Like, that's PH is the beefy tank type. Speaking of, can we get through here? Ooh, oh. Access to synthesis and manufacturing stores is currently restricted because emergency lockdown protocols in effect. So we need the Kimlet and the human. Okay, well, let's exit then. We can't get in there yet. That's all right. We're going to loot all the bodies and figure out how to get where we need to go, which, again, I have questions about that. Oh, okay, yeah. So, I don't think I finished this thought. Right. So you know how I want to play some. I want to run some old games over the summer, right? And actually, not just over the summer, but just generally speaking, well, okay. Let's be more transparent. There are a lot of things I would like to do. We're gonna back up. There are a lot of things I would really, really like to do, and one of the things I would like to do is add a second RPG night to my stream, but I also know that I cannot do that during the school year at this time. Maybe, were some circumstances different, I could, but at this time I cannot. But I could, but I can do it over the summer, right? So this is a thing that I can't normally do, but I can do it over the summer. So I would like to, because this weekend I'm going to be doing my plan for the summer, and one of the things I really would like to do is add a second night of RPGs, or a second day of RPGs, probably Saturday or Sunday. But some of this has to do also with if I'm GMing on other channels, and there are some things that are currently outstanding, and I don't necessarily want to commit to certain things until I find out about other things, because I might there's some GMing I might be doing on some other channels, but I'm waiting to hear back from people, and I don't want to commit to it will work out. I will work it out. I will work it out. Okay, tell me about the dolls. I'll leave you stream running though. Thank you. I start my Minecraft stream at 3:30 again today. Oh great. I bet we can raid you. I bet we can raid you. Max Ryder, I bet we can raid you. I ran a fun game of Privateers and Gentlemen. That was where PCs die. A lot. The place where PCs die. Yeah. So we'll raid you. That's what we'll do. Nobody let me forget that we're gonna go and raid. We're gonna go and raid Max Ryder. So what I wanted to say was, and delete that, and we've got rid of a bunch of armor. We still have more, but we got rid of a bunch. What we really need to do is get rid of some of this trash we have, because that's taking up space, but you know, that's our life. We're gonna get rid of this. Great. Okay, we're good. Yes. Thanks, it'd be nice. Actually, great. So nobody let me forget. So right now we need to see if we can find a way. See, this is the thing. I think we're too low, right? This is the thing that really gets me. I do not think we can get where we want to get from this location. which is here. The dialogue between dead men. The Synthesis and Manufacturing Observatory. Synthesis and Manufacturing Observatory. I saw the observatory. It was very cool looking, but the question is how to get access to it. Maybe we can't until we get to the Synthesis and Manufacturing lower exterior. That is possible. And if that is true, then we have to do something else first. So let's go here and see if that will get us where we need to go, right? Because maybe maybe this will get us there. Okay. So right, I want to play a bunch. I want to have a second day of games on my channel, at least during the summer. And I don't know. I'm thinking probably Sunday afternoons is my current guess for when would be the best time to do it. All right, so we need to retrieve the phonograph from Observation Room B or Chem Lab Storage Room. Eat something. No, not second Sundays, because second Sundays is, when we've got Cthulhu. Ooh, hey, look at this. But that's why I was thinking about Sundays, because Sundays would allow me to do basically like some one-shots and short shots. Anything that lasts between like 1 and 3 sessions, or like something like that. So I'm thinking about doing some short shots over like on Sundays. Now I could do it Saturdays, but I might be streaming something on Saturdays, so I can't say exactly, because I might be streaming something, in which case no. Right, so there's some things I do not have the answer for, and cannot answer quite yet. So also, y'all, I feel like my inventory is probably really... Look at that! I sold a bunch of stuff, and now I'm doing really well in terms of my encumbrance. I mean, not like perfect, but better. We should probably just save. One-shots are neat. Great way to experience new systems, quick and easy. Yeah, I mean, I personally like... I mean, this is probably a matter of... what would you call it?
Name game.
Terminology more than anything else. But I like short shots better than one shots, if that makes any sense. I like something that's going to last like, 2 to 4 sessions. If I'm rather than like a one shot where you've got to get everything including all the RP and character development in like 3 to 4 hours. I prefer like a good, rather than a one shot, like a short shot, like 2 to 4 sessions. Like when I think of a one shot, I'd like 2 to 3 to 4 sessions. And so if I get to go and incorporate some Sunday stuff, which I really should start getting on, I need to start planning. That means that I can have some nice short shots, right? So avoid the second Sunday of the month because of Cthulhu. But I could get in some like 2 to 3 session stuff. And PH is like, sure, those are great for the same reason. Yeah. And what I really like about them, PH, is that if you do like 3 to 4 sessions, 2 to 4 sessions, you can actually dig into the system a little bit more and really get to know it a little bit. Because some things it's hard to know in a one shot, like it's okay, but you only get a little taste. You often don't get to know, for example, how advancement works in a system, or sometimes healing. Like some things you just don't really get to see unless you get more than one session. You may not need like 20, but I feel like 2 to 4 is good. And I do have this Call of Cthulhu every second Sunday of the month, but that does give me 3 other, and I cannot schedule a regular game on Sundays with, with some very, very sort of slim exceptions, like special exceptions for special channels because of my, it has to be like a thing, but that does mean I could use that for special events, including, for example, a GURPS arena, but also some short shots. And so I was really hoping, and by the way, B-Red, I see you. I was really hoping to add some RPGs on Sundays. I mean, I would do it on Saturdays, but again, I don't know if I'm still trying to work out some stuff, so I don't want to commit to that one just yet. Yeah, so anyway, point being that I would love to have a second day for RPGs. And this summer is going to be, since Kolos won't start up again until end of August, that means I get to do a bunch of different stuff this summer. And so I really want to, today and tomorrow, really sit down and make a plan for all the things that I want to do over the summer. And one of the things I wanted to add was that I've been really torn about old school D&D for a second. And don't let me forget to tell you why, because I'm going to tell you why after I sing. The name game. Come on, everybody. I say, now let's play a game. I bet you I can make a rhyme out of anybody's name. The first letter of the name. I treat it like it wasn't there. And then a B on F. On M will appear. And then I say bo at a B. Then I say the name. Then banana, fan, or info. Then I say the name again with an F very plain. Then a fee, fi, and a mo. Then I say the name again with an M this time. And there isn't any name that I can't rhyme. But if the first 2 letters are ever the same, I drop them both and say the name. I like Bob. Bob, drop the B's, Bo, Bo, Fred. Fred, drop the F's, fo, red. Oh, Mary, Mary, drop the M's, mo, airy. That's the only rule that is contrary. Be right, be right, be right, oh, E right, banana, fana, fo, fee right, fee, fi, mo, me right. Be right. The name game. Hey, thank you for that resub, B right. Thank you so much. So nice. And Peach is like, true, and that's a lot of time with no Kolos. But PH, if I can actually pin my players down to get those interviews in, at least we'll be having interviews once a month from the Kolos cast, which I think will be really interesting. So I'm excited about that. Hey, Hawkeye. Lone Cool. Volu says, always try to trick people into character creation scheme. With luck, there's enough NPCs for a few sessions. I learn a lot from... Okay, so we want to get into this building. I'm going to assume that there is a way into this building, but that may not be true. That may be a lie. Been reading, the Keeper's Guide for today. Oh, this is sealed. All right, so we're not getting in there, as it turns out. So that's not gonna give us joy. We will have to then hit... We tried that. We couldn't get in. I suspect we actually tried to get in here and couldn't get in there either. Look, we'll just fast travel there and see if we can. And if not, then we know that that we have to do the other thing. That's it. Have you been enjoying The Keeper's Guide? COC is a good game. It's a good game. So anyway, gaming, right? I want to do lots of gaming. Because once the school year starts up again, I won't be able to have two days a week, but I really would like to. I think it's something I want to do. And once the school year starts up again, this school year is going to be pretty hectic for me because I'm going to be on the budget and priorities committee. Oop. And we're going to save. And I'm doing pre-major advising next year. So I've got pre-major advising. I'm on the budget and priorities committee. I am teaching at a prison. I've got like a lot going on next year. You know, I've got some major advising, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I know that it'll be, you know, a little. Oh, hi. How are you? What's going on? Oh, hey, that's bad. Let me do this. Why don't I? Let me just do a little bit of that. Yeah, we're gonna just do a little bit of this, right, as we do that. There we go. Sorry about that. And we've got another person to kill, which will be fine. Oh, these are the people that like to run around and not be visible, which is rude here. I think I scare people when I shoot them, by the way, just a note. So, there was something I wanted to tell you. What was it? Yes, right? Gaming. So I want to do all this gaming, blah, 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 blah. Very busy in next school year, and it's going to be really important for me to get a lot of writing done. Normally, it's really hard to get writing done during the academic year because of how life works, but I'm going to try to carve out some time to do a little bit of writing at least, because it's going to be important for other reasons. But since I know it's going to be really hard, especially in the fall, it's going to be hard. And of course, I'm doing a scholar in residence as well, which means my Monday nights or Tuesday nights are going to be taken up with game nights and meetings and all that. So because of all of that, I do know that it's going to be very busy. And let's repair all our stuff. So I really want to take advantage of where are we at right now? Okay, we are here. Right behind us. Can we get into this building? We cannot. So, okay. Everything is obvious at this moment that we're going to have to do more of the main quest on this planet. And that's fine because we can't get in here. So, knowing all of that, let's figure out where the main quest is so we can get there. So we need to locate facility staff using the comms tower, access the staff directory at Transmission Tower Alpha to find someone to help us breach those facilities. In order to access the Synthesis Manufacturing Center, you need to send override codes from 2 other facilities, Human Inquiry and Auditing, and the Chem Lab, right? Which we can't do just yet. Access the staff directory at the Transmission Tower Alpha to find someone to help you breach these facilities. So I need Transmission Tower Alpha, which we'll go there. We'll just check it out. So I was telling you about gaming. So there are a couple of things that are sort of longer campaigns that I actually do want to do. And it would be really great. I am still in the DLC, but I feel like I'm getting close to finishing this DLC, right? Right? Ideally. So here's the thing. Look, I need to find out what's going on with this one place because there are some longer campaigns I would really like to run. Or some multi-season campaigns I like to run, and I feel like the summer would be one of the places for that, right? So it is a thing that I really, really, really want to do. And I need to find out some stuff from other people first, basically, right? There are things I need to find out. But there are some campaigns I'd like to run. And this is a thing I wanted to tell you because I hadn't gotten to that space yet in the story. Hey, we've just discovered this place. So if this is the first time we've been here, have we... Let's go take some Adreno. Hey, I feel like Adreno is different from Adrenatime, right? I imagine it's just 10% less less addictive. I don't know if that's true. It probably isn't true at all. Just for the record. So I do want to run some long, and I've got some really cool ideas of things that I want to do. I don't know if those are... Look, I've got stuff. Anyway, let me get to the conundrum. There's a D&D thing that I'm going to do at some point, which is not related to this question. But the thing that I'm sort of struggling with when it comes to old D&D is this. I do want to run some old D&D because I want to run a bunch of old things. I also want to run some Tunnels and Trolls. I want to run some Rune Quest. Like, I want to run some stuff, right? Some older stuff. I think that'd be actually very cool. I also found this very cool thing, but I'm not going to tell you because that is going to be a distraction from this point. And I mentioned it on Friday last night, but I want to mention it again, and it's this. I'm really torn, and that is I really think the strongholds and freeholds, all those rules in the companion set are very cool. And I would love to get... No, I don't want that. No. What is going on? I don't want to share any great moments. I want to come back here. Okay, so let me exit and then go here. Okay, so yeah, I'm talking about basic. So by old D&D, we're talking AD&D. Oh, no. We're talking about first off, Vo, please stop saying Gygax. Not just you. Everyone's like, oh, Gygax and Arneson. Gygax is not the only person. Actually, Gygax is not the only person who made D&D. It chaps my hide. It's not your fault. It's Gygax's fault because Gygax worked really hard to erase everybody else's input in the game. But Gygax did not make that game by himself. He is not the only person whose fingerprints are on that game, and it makes me... It chaps my hide because he's not the only one, right? There are a bunch of other people. So I'm talking about basic and also AD&D First Edition is what I'm really thinking about. I will not have a crew member on this spacecraft who is not afraid of a DLC monster, says the Outer World Starbuck. Yes. So here's my conundrum, right? My conundrum is, when I run some old school D&D, do I do basic or AD&D First Edition? Yeah, he pulled the Elon Musk and Steve Jobs move of being the face of other people's works. VO, absolutely. And it's really frustrating because all the RP stuff came from Arneson, right? So all the RP stuff came from Arneson. So a lot of the stuff that I really loved about D&D was Arneson, not Gygax. And even if we can even go beyond Arneson and Gygax, and we can think about like Margaret Weiss. We can think about the people who created Greyhawk, who worked on all these things. We can talk about Moldvay and Mentzner and Holmes and all these people who were neither Gygax nor Arneson, who were really important in the creation of the game that we know and love. Wasn't Gygax the big war gamer? Yes, he was. He was the big war gamer, right? He did Chainmail. He was the war gamer, right? But there were other people who did... and Eric Holmes wrote the basic stuff, right? He wrote the first basic, and then it was then revised. Also, so PH, also for those old games, do you bring old people or young people or a mix? Probably a mix would be what I would like. I think that would be actually very cool to have a mix of them. I think that would be really neat. I would like a mix. But also, I think about this. I was just reading something, and you know Tasha from Tasha's Hideous Laughter? Tasha was Gary Gygax's daughter, I believe, who was a playtester. And same thing with Melf and I think Morgan Kanan, I think were like some of Gygax's kids. To be honest, I know very little of the early creative process of D&D. Yeah, and the thing is, so how come we're not talking about Gary Gygax's daughter as being important to the development of D&D? She was one of the original playtesters, which means her input as a player, not only does she still exist in the form of Tasha's hideous laughter, but also her input also helped shape the game. And and Melf was Luke, right? And so I think about the ways in which it's the great man theory, right? It's not, and by the way, this is not my current irritation that I'm expressing is not limited to Gary Gygax, because Gary Gygax was not a great person, but also to the ways in which we're like, oh, that director made that film, but the director did not make that film by themselves, right? I mean, oftentimes they also didn't even direct all of it, right? You usually get like an assistant director to do different, like unit 2 director they do the shots. You have the cinematographer who's doing a lot of that work. You have the editor, you have all the actors, the costuming. Like, a film is not made by the director alone. The film is made by everybody who's part of that process. And so I always get irritated when people sort of put in one person, you know, the Elon Musk or the Steve Jobs, or the what's his face, you know, the Microsoft guy, Bill Gates, right? What is the work of a lot of people? You know what I mean? A lot of people, creative people too, right? Just a lot of people are involved in that work, and it always frustrates me when we just erase the work of everyone else, right? Krellin says, Gygax had a war game, heard about this RPG LARPy thing that Arneson was running. They got together and they made D&D. Yeah. Vio says, to put it mildly, Gygax had some problematic attitudes that bled into the DNA of D&D. The myth of the visionary. Oh, Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison was just a straight up thief. Do you know what I mean? So just, And the thing is, and here's the thing though, and I want to sort of bring this up, right? About when you're saying about the DNA of D&D. And this is actually one of the reasons why I push back on labeling everything Gygax. And one of the reasons why I push back about the Gygax thing, one, because first off, just because he wanted everybody to think that he made everything by himself doesn't mean he did. That's just irritating, and it's part of a larger irritation. But the second thing is about like the DNA of D&D. A lot of people will talk smack about D&D. I also talk smack about D&D, but I talk about it in a different way. Like, I talk about things that I personally dislike about it in terms of, like, there are some things I think are just problematic about D&D. Overall, although those things are not actually, don't exist in D&D anymore. But there are some personal preferences that I will talk about, but those are personal preferences, right? And that's not the same thing as something I think is fundamentally problematic about the game itself. And just because he won the TSR Wars doesn't mean he gets to know everything TSR did. Absolutely. I get the sense you criticize D&D in the way of critiquing a thing you love. Iffy, because for a long time I just didn't love D&D at all, right? It was important to me. I started gaming D&D, but I had such a negative experience playing D&D, and I really didn't enjoy it, that a lot of my critique was not based on critiquing a thing you love. However, I will say that ever since I read Forge Theory, and I ever talked smack about Forge Theory, but ever since I read Forge Theory, I got to understand D&D a lot better as a game, and I've really come to appreciate it much more than I did before, because I understand it theoretically better, which allows me to go into a different mindset when I play it. So I actually like D&D a lot more since I read Theory by people who didn't like D&D, if that makes any sense. Which is one of the reasons why when people talk smack about GNS Theory and Forge Theory, which by the way they do a lot, often on the basis of, there are a couple of different directions people critique that theory. Now, there is like a third and fourth direction, which I think is super valid and I'm into it. But that's like engaging with a theory and critiquing it from an engagement process. And Krellin and Barantor have made critiques of the theory, which I also totally think is fair and also agree with, right? But the two main ways I see people, they don't actually critique the theory, they dismiss it without critiquing it, which is different. And what happens is that there are people who, how do I put this? So there's some conflations going on, right? And I'm going to do something with this later. There's some conflations going on between the Forge community and the theory itself. Some of the people in the Forge theory were they had very specific attitudes, and they really did not like specifically, and I still have this post saved so I can do something with it. Specifically, people would think, oh, they hated D&D. No, they hated GURPS and Call of Cthulhu. There's a whole post about how GURPS and Call of Cthulhu destroyed the RPG industry, and had there been no GURPS or Call of Cthulhu, we would be in a much better space when it came to RPGs. So there are a bunch of RPGs they didn't like, and they had all these thoughts. And at the time when they started sort of becoming big, people who liked the games that they did not like often were very dismissive of the Forge, and still are, right? So a lot of people who are basically in my circle who are like, oh, that stuff is crap, because those people didn't like their games. And so then they dismiss everything that those people wrote, which I actually don't think is fair. And then the other side of the critique are people who are basically the descendants of the Forge, the people who came out of the Forge, second, third generation of people, right, who've come down, who are embarrassed by the Forge. So they're like, oh, let's not talk about the Forge. The Forge is ridiculous. So there's no need to think about it anymore. It's just so outdated. I don't want to think about it. But like almost everything that they're doing is still embedded in Forge ideology. They just want to pretend like it never existed because it's now embarrassing for them. And I feel like a lot of people that criticize GNS theory ignore the S parts. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Because nervists hate that simulation exists because they think that it's just gameism trying to be nervism badly. And actually, you know what, Krona? I'm going to give you a different take on it that I've been thinking about this quite a lot. And Vo and Max, I'll tell you why they're like neither GURPS nor Call of Cthulhu. I think the reason why right now it's really big on dismissing GNS. And by the way, I actually feel like I'm a bit more in line with Krellin and Barontor in that the way that I use GNS is modified some. Like I'm not as rigid as Ron Edwards was at one point, but I also want to know that it's a theory, and the theory itself also changed over time, and I feel like you can continue to change and adjust. I think you don't have to use it exactly like Ron Edwards said, especially since he said different things at different times, right? It's coming out of a bunch of different spaces, and I think you can use it in different ways. And I'm all in favor of continuing to evolve that theory. GNS is gameism, narrativism, and simulationism. And this is why, Krellin, I think it's really popular to dismiss it right now. One is those two things I mentioned, but something else, and that is, so GNS came out of, it was originally called the threefold model. It came out of Usenet. And it was originally called Gameism, Narrativism, Dramatism, I think it was called. No, Gameism, Dramatism, Simulationism was the original sort of formulation. And what's interesting is that there had long been theories about players, right? Like what kind of players are there? And this was trying to talk about games themselves, right? And this came out of Usenet first, and then it sort of got developed in this place called the Forge, which was a message board. But the person, a woman was the first person who developed this sort of threefold model. Hey, Schmelzer. So trying to pigeonhole something as nebulous as games. Oh no, it's mostly about like design priorities, right? Which actually I think it works pretty well as a tool. But one of the whole things that the woman who created the threefold model, which was not GNS at the time, it was like GDS. The thing that she wanted to do was get away from the binary that was popular at the time, which was role-playing versus role-playing, ROLE versus ROLL. And that, of course, that role-playing versus role-playing thing was like the rage, right, throughout the 80s and 90s, where there are two types of role players who just roll dice, and role players who play roles. And like those two groups, it was this big binary, and those two groups were just like pitted against each other just over and over and over again. And like, if you were the Gygax model, you would call the role players, ROLE players, just amateur theatrics and terrible, not even really role playing. They don't know what they're doing. And if you were the other side, the ROLE people, you'd be like, oh, the ROLL people are the worst, not even really role playing. And it was like this whole thing that for me was really typified by the tension between D&D players and vampire players. And it was old and boring. Like, it was tiresome, it was irritating, and this model, this threefold model, GNS model, was meant to try to get rid of this binary, to break out of the binary and think about games in a different way, not role playing versus role playing, but thinking about game design priorities. Like, is your design, is your priority, is your central priority to have a fair challenge that you win? Is your central priority to tell a story that sort of follows the narrative arc of like books and plays? Is your main priority and emphasis to set up some kind of system and then play out and see how it plays out, right? And sort of thinking about these as being like a triangle, right? And I think in the original threefold model, basically the more you head towards one, the less you have the other, and to be effective. Is in the case of Trooper Stream, GNS equals gossip, narration, singing. That's true, actually. This is at Time of Gifts. You are absolutely 100% correct. This is what GNS means to me. It is gossip, narration, and singing. And this is a true fact, which means actually, I'm going to have to add this as a quote, because this is now, I think it's add quote. Time of Gifts, you're our first quote in a while. I need you to know this. And I believe this will be 2022. I hope. Did I get that right? Yes. Yes. Just Time of Gifts, you have now been added to the things that we have learned. So here, you can always find out what we've learned by using the learned command. And it's learned, right? Yes, I passed the sex test with a 69. That's a strong D. Tommy Xmas 2017. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad we just... Time of Gifts, thank you for allowing me to go and add a quote to the stream. I'm very happy. The signature poodle cut was actually to protect the dog from bites. It protects the throat, tail, the most vulnerable parts. Things that we've learned. Also, there was a thing I learned, but we didn't learn it on this channel. Krellin told us really cool things about the banana, and I totally would have added that, but we weren't on the channel. Hey, Crit Twitch. So, right, so it was a way of trying to think about game priorities in new ways, and I actually think it's actually quite interesting and useful. A lot of the people out of the Forge were kind of ridiculous, but we wouldn't have the modern indie narrative scene without them. They really revolutionized a lot of things, and yes, a number of them were like elitist and irritating, but everybody is. Was it how bananas make other fruit rot faster? No, it was about how the artificial banana flavor. I'm like, that doesn't taste like a banana, but apparently it does. It tastes like a banana flavor that's called the Grand something or other. It's like a banana flavor that we used to have that the banana basically died out. No, the Cavendish is the one that we have. The other one is the artificial one. But it's not actually a fake banana taste. It's just a banana that we haven't had because it died out because of a fungus, right? And I thought that was super cool. I was like, oh, neat. Anyway, so the thing that I think is interesting, and this is what I think is really fascinating about the fall of the Gross Michelle, the fall of the GNS theory. And this is the thing I wanted to tell you, Krellin, based on what you were thinking. I think that the reason why GNS theory has fallen, for many reasons, I think there are many, many reasons. I think one of the reasons is that when we got the OSR, right, that became a moment when a binary became useful to people again, right? The whole point of GNS, or the threefold model, all that stuff, was to break out of the binary, so you just didn't have binary camps like that anymore. And I think that once we got, do you remember when it was OSR versus Indie, and that was a really intense fight? It was really bad. It was harsh. And you had people saying things like, indie RPGs aren't even RPGs. What is this, right? And people being like, you OSR people are like the devil. And it was a super, super intense, it was bad, right? And you had people like gross people on the OSR side writing really gross things. You had people on the indie side writing gross things. It was super, super intense and really, really gross. And I think that the GNS model, the whole point of which was to break out of binaries, is not useful when what you want is a binary. And indie versus OSR is a binary, right? It's a binary that in many ways goes back to the roleplay versus roleplay, ROLE versus ROLL. And I think that when people were in the middle of that huge fight, the GNS theory is not useful because it's not a binary, right? And we have since then not left the binary. We left OSR versus indie, and we now are in indie versus trad, right? But we're still, when you look at people on Twitter and people talking, it's still, people are still caught up in this binary that still basically maps onto roleplay versus roleplay, ROLL versus ROLE. And since the whole point of GNS was to break out of that binary, I think that's one of the reasons why GNS has fallen out of fashion, because right now it is in fashion to place yourself in a binary. And so people want that old binary back because I think it's quite useful for them right now. Is this an American fascination? I guess a lot of the big OSR creeps aren't American though. Yeah, no, I don't think it's just an American fascination. I think that it gets worked through American media, but I don't think it's just an American media fascination. Yeah. Just makes you want to smack them and say, let people enjoy things. Yeah, you do want to do that, but people have a really hard time letting people enjoy things. They really do. Crit Twitch says, I was going to say the other night, I wonder how much of that spread is survival of the fungus and how much of that is of how we're farming. Oh, interesting. That's an interesting question, Crit Twitch. Before that, it was role-playing games versus war games. Yes, right. It's basically the same fight that's been going on since the mid-70s. And there was that moment where the GNS tried to break out of it, but a lot of those people were really, really irritating, by the way, and probably would not like me. But there were also some very good people who came out of the Forge. So I read a really interesting article by Emily Short, who was talking about, because it's become very fashionable for indie people to talk smack about the Forge as a distancing mechanism. And I saw a really nice blog post by Emily Short, who also came out of the Forge, who's like, look, there were some people who were jerks, but there were some really great things that came out of the Forge too. So that was very nice. But yeah. Here's a D&D history question. How come Wizards got the rights? Oh, yeah. Kron says, because Gygax won the TSR war, so TSR owned the rights for Wizards to buy when TSR was failing financially. Hey, Artie Snack. Hey, how are you? What happened was that, one of the reasons why Wizards owned the rights is because, how do I put this? Gary Gygax was a bad businessman, right? So Gary Gygax won the TSR wars. He was able to consolidate all the power under himself. But the problem was he was a bad businessman. He overextended. He made a lot of really bad choices. And D&D got, I mean, if you don't know, Max knows, Krellin knows, some other people know. People who were there know that D&D, everyone talks now like, wow, D&D is so huge. It's never been as big as, it's the biggest thing ever. First off, D&D is not that big, but D&D in the 80s was also quite big. We had the D&D cartoon. There was the Satanic Panics. Everyone was talking about it. It was in E.T. It was in mainstream bookstore, Walden Books, Toys R Us games. D&D was actually quite big in the 80s. It had a sort of like a cultural presence. Movies, some of those movies were bad, but it had a cultural presence similar to now. It was quite big. But Gary Gygax was not good as a businessman, so he wrested all control, and then he started basically destroying the company through a lot of very, very bad choices, right? Overextension, like just flooding the market. He was just basically flooding the market with like 1,000 things, and that was not good for the market. Yes, Tom Hanks was in Mazes and Monsters. Yes, he was. So TSR was doing really, really poorly. Gary Gygax had a habit of carrying a gun to work and threatening people. Like, it was just like not a great scene. So there was a coup, and Gary Gygax was pushed out of TSR because he was destroying the company, and people were like, oh. So basically there was like this like a behind the scenes move to push Gary Gygax out to save the company. Oh, yeah, Gary Gygax was one of those guys who uh, was like, he was like a big libertarian gun rights guy. He had a whole bunch of stuff going on, and he was just he was a piece of work. Yeah, and Hawkeye's like, many creative types are not great business people, and that is true. Vo says, talking to the Satanic Panic, convinced my friend's mom to let his little brother play D&D by showing her the Bible D&D setting Kickstarter. I think the reason why some people think that D&D is bigger than ever is because of CR. Right, but let's just note, OniGeek, Critical Role is big, sure. It gets 50,000 to 60,000 viewers on Twitch, which is nothing compared to a large YouTube channel. I'm just going to note that, right? Like, this is a Critical Role is a great example of, and I don't mean this to diss Critical Role because I think they're great and I enjoy it, but it is a great example of this thing wherein something gets buzz, but it's actually not as big as people think it is. But because it gets buzz, people think it's huge, and so then they think this whole thing is massive. But again, like, the whole entire role-playing game industry made like $80,000 in 2020 out of a $2 billion hobby game. The hobby game industry is worth $2 billion in 2020, and role-playing games, not just D&D, but role-playing games in general, 80 million. So, like, role-playing games are small. They are not that big. And yes, there was a big increase in 2021, but still not that much. And it's important to note how small this is. But we imagine, right? And Krell's like, D&D actually is bigger than ever. It's never had as much popularity and penetration as it currently does, but it's still a niche hobby of a couple dozen million. Right, that's the thing. It's still really small.
Somebody's watching me.
But that doesn't mean that it's huge, if you know what I mean. By the way, I always feel that somebody's watching me, and I have no privacy. Whoa, I always feel that somebody's watching me. Tell me, is it just a dream? Ba-da-ba-pow. Thank you for that follow. Code Mage 666. Hey, 666. We were just talking about the Satanic Panic. So that's very convenient. Because my friend's mom only knew of D&D via the Satanic Panic back in the day, so I found a way to assuage her about the paradigm. I want to note something about the Satanic Panic. The Satanic Panic also made D&D famous. They would talk about D&D on the news. There are ways in which I think a lot of people would never have found out about D&D except for the Satanic Panic, because it made it a huge name, even if it weren't selling as much. I actually looked at his Twitch stat site. It's super interesting to see. Oh, I love Twitch stat sites. I'm still working on finishing my stats for 2021. How does that compare to... oh, yeah. The hobby game industry is $2 billion, and role-playing games are 80 million. Right? So I just... That's how it compares. Role-playing games are 80 million out of a 2 billion industry. Wizards makes its money off of magic, right? Yeah. Dallas Egbert and the Steam, which, by the way, was not even about that. Like, Dallas Egbert, people don't even know. Oh my gosh. I love those. I go to the stat sites all the time. Its big buzz is as much the fan cult from the voice actors as the show itself. Yeah, that's true. The Panic was a great example of the press creating much ado about not much. Absolutely. It's difficult to pry RPG financial data free from board card games because it's all the same companies, but it's a known fact that Magic and Munchkin are still the big money makers for them. Absolutely. Absolutely. It is very, very... So, Dallas Egbert. Look, I'm going to tell you who Dallas Egbert is. The guy who wrote the book about it knew nothing about RPGs, and it shows. It's still an interesting book. Yeah. I'm going to read this thing that we have, and then I will tell you who Dallas Egbert is. And then I will tell you what happened with... oops, sorry about that. With... after they pushed Gary Gygax out of TSR. Scanning. One result found. Clarence Mosley. Location, Byzantium, Musgrave Collection. Thank you for your diligent commitment to personal tracking and surveillance. Oh. Displaying the most recent logs. Quitting time. Transmission Tower Alpha. We've been through a lot together, old friend. They just blared the evacuation order. Guess that's the end of Gordon. For the record, you're my favorite comms tower in the whole system. I'll never forget you. Love, Technician number 13, junior grade. Fancy seeing me here. This is well shit. The last escape shuttle left a few of us in the dust. Never seen anyone lift off in such a hurry. We scattered like roaches. It's every man and woman for themselves now. Oh, you're still in running, I see. Looks like you're only one employee left with their tracker flipped on. What a rube. Signing off, for good this time. Take care of yourself, Comms Tower. Don't forget to stand up straight like I taught you. Best, Technician 13, junior grade. Return to route, exit. Level up, and we now know who we have to find. And what I'm going to do is set ourselves up for success by going there, and then I'll tell you those two things. We need to go to our journal, which is... Where is Claire? Oh, Clarence Mosley is right over here. So we're going to just fast travel over there while we're here. So Crit Twitch says, I sadly never got into it in the 80s despite wanting to as a youngling. And it's funny, when I went to a Christian school as a kid, we focused on satanic music. I never heard anything about D&D. Interesting. Max says he was a rich kid in college who disappeared for a while and was connected to D&D, sort of. Yeah. I did some aggressive hacking. Thank you, Artie. So here's the thing about... So Dallas Egbert. There are a lot of things about Dallas Egbert people do not know, and they probably should. So Dallas Egbert was a young man who was like a genius. He was like super, super smart. And he went to college at some big state university. I can't remember which one it was. You'll have to forgive me on that one. I don't remember. But he went to the state college. Also, why is it pointing there? Weird. Is Clarence Mosley not on this planet? Hey, is Clarence Mosley not on this planet? Is that what's going on here? Let's go upstairs and check. Michigan State, thank you, Crone. Went to Michigan State, right? So the thing about, one of the things to note about Clarence Mosley, yeah, it looks like we're gonna have to go into this ship. Interesting. Is that he was like 15 or 16 when he went to college. He graduated high school early, right? And so he went to college really young. He was like 15 or 16 when he went to college. So he's 15 or 16, he goes to college, much younger than everyone else. He plays D&D. He apparently does not have a good relationship with his parents, put a lot of pressure on him. He also apparently was closeted. He was queer, but not out to himself yet, or was coming through his coming out process and not dealing with that well. And his parents were like not dealing with it well. And he played a lot of D&D, and he apparently had a couple of suicide attempts because he was not happy. And he goes missing. And what everybody says is that he goes missing because he plays D&D. That's especially what his parents said, right? He plays D&D, so he and all the D&D players would play D&D by going into the steam tunnels underneath the university, which was dangerous, and that he probably went in there and got lost and died. And so there was this whole big deal about how all these young people are going into the steam tunnels because they're playing this evil game, this dangerous game, D&D, and he went in there and he died in the steam tunnels. And he didn't. He actually just ran away from college, and he ran away from his family because he was under just so much pressure. Yeah, he was under a lot of pressure, and he didn't even die. Like, he didn't die. He didn't get lost in the steam tunnels. He actually just ran away from college and ran away from his family because he was under so much pressure. And this came out later, right? But this guy wrote this book called, I think it's called like The Game Master or something like this. And it was all about how horrible D&D was. And yeah, he did die later. I believe he committed suicide later, sometime later. It was, yeah, he was gay, and he was from a really, really repressive family. It was called The Dungeon Master. Yeah, and he basically was not having a good life, right? He was having a very, very bad life. And he did die, I think, a year or two later, a couple of years later, after the whole scandal died down. I think he committed suicide. And the whole media blamed D&D for it. And his parents blamed D&D especially. and like they really were like, oh, it's such like the same way that like a number of families whose kids committed suicide blamed heavy metal music when there were other things going on. So yeah, he died of a so right, so that was like a lot. So that was one of these things that helped sort of spread that panic. But what happened with TSR? So this is what happened. TSR, they push out Gary Gygax, right? And the problem is that TSR is not doing well. TSR is basically on the brink of bankruptcy. They like, I think it was Gary Gygax who did this. He like took out huge numbers of loans, in order to sort of basically make Gamma World and a thousand different things. And he wanted to make a TV show and all this stuff. And he took out all these loans, and they were now coming due, and they could not pay them because they were just not making any money. And all their distributors were not paying them because they weren't paying. Like, TSR was failing in a massive way financially because of Gary Gygax's poor business deals. And they had pushed him out of the company, and they were like, basically they were in the verge of losing everything, losing all their IP, everything. And so what they ended up doing was selling to Wizards of the Coast in order to keep the company alive. So D&D was sold to Wizards because otherwise it was going to basically be gutted and sold for parts and destroyed. So yeah, I said my Greyhawk timeline right at the end of TSR's life. Yeah. So he got into bad debt, and they sold the rights to Wizards. Yeah, basically that's what happened, because they were like, it was bad. Like, they were in a really bad way. And so basically selling it to Wizards saved them. And I know everyone's like, oh, Wizards, evil corporation, but Wizards also wasn't big at the time. Wizards was actually a smaller company as well. Someone living off of credit cards when they had no, yeah. And of course, Wizards had tons of magic money to throw around. Yeah, and I think that, you know, like, and they were gamers, right? So when, like, they wanted to buy it because they wanted to save it, you know what I mean? And I think it's easy to, so they were founded in 1990, and they were acquired by Hasbro in 99, but they didn't do Magic yet, because Magic came a little bit later. I think it was founded, yeah, right. It was used a positive thing because let's see, they had Magic. Yeah, they made Magic in when was it? It was they had the Magic money, right? So they had Magic first. Magic was 93, right? 93. So they basically had just got all that Magic money, and but they were doing RPGs first, right? I think before they had Magic, they were doing RPGs, and they named themselves after a guild of wizards from a Dungeons and Dragons campaign that Peter Atkinson, who was the founder, was playing in, right? So they were all a bunch of nerds. They named themselves after, like, a, you know, they were very much like D&D fans. They did the third edition of Talislanta, right? So that's one thing they started off with, Primal Order, right? And then they ended up sort of doing Magic, and they ended up picking up, so yeah, they did SLA Industries, Ars Magica, in 94, right? So they did a bunch of RPGs as well, and then they bought TSR because TSR was just not doing well. Like, and really, that's just, it would have yeah, it was at the brink of collapse, really. Yeah. Wizard styles. I come from the MTG side of things originally, and I'm pretty sure D&D was seen as a prestige thing for a long time. It wasn't that profitable until recently, after all. I mean, here's the thing, Wizard. It's profitable, but the problem is it's not super profitable. Like, it makes money, but Hasbro, it's still a prestige thing, basically, right? Even though it's making money, it's still a prestige thing because it's not making Wizards money. It's not making Magic the Gathering money, and it's not making Monopoly money. It's not making Hasbro money. It's making money for the companies, but it's not making huge amounts of money. Do you know what I mean? Like it's mostly it's mostly prestige, right? And also, to be honest, I think that they want it for licensing. I think they hope to make money off of. Oh man, I was talking about thinking about D&D's popularity in the 80s, books and video games too. Like, so D&D actually was doing very well in the 80s, and then it was not. Yes. Vo says, Wikipedia says the company was named after, yeah, right? So yes. Ars Magica, I remember some guy trying to get me to play that convention. He was a terrible GM though. I want to run Ars Magica. WotC buying TSR was viewed as good. Hasbro buying WotC was viewed as bad. Yes, that is correct. That is correct. It was also an IP move, right? Because remember, Dungeons and Dragons in the 80s had books, it had merch, it had a TV show, it had video games, and really think about this: video games, right? Neverwinter Nights, like D&D as a video game property became quite the thing, quite the thing. Are we sure that notice boards at guilds and taverns wasn't just tender for hacks? Maybe. Not that profitable. I'm pretty sure it had to be profitable for Hasbro, or Hasbro would have axed it at some point. It's profitable, but the thing is, at the moment when Hasbro bought Wizards, and they bought Wizards not for D&D, but for Magic the Gathering, right? That's and minis too. Yeah. I can remember when my articles were in Dragon Magazine and Dungeon Magazine. It was second ed. Oh, nice. I was never in Dungeon or Dragon, but I was in Pyramid, which was Steve Jackson Games' magazine. Trooper, if D&D hadn't been saved, what system do you think would have filled the void? Yeah, Krell notes, Dragonlance books were everywhere. Yeah. 90 to 99. Oh, nice. I did some work with Steve Jackson Games was my thing at the time. Example, KOTOR later built its combat of D&DS mechanics, right? Absolutely. Call of Cthulhu was out there. Travel was still going. The thing is, I don't know if we are going, this is the wrong controller. World of Darkness, certainly. The thing is, I'm not certain that D&D... Well, we're going to go and find Clarence mostly. We're going here. Sure. That's what we're doing. Oh, Max, we're going to raid you, by the way. Go to your stream and we're going to raid you. Oh, all right. Would spirit boards be more profitable if they were made of wood and advertised as goth cheese and biscuit boards? Maybe. Wizard says, there was that time when World of Darkness was bigger than D&D, but I'm not sure it could really be that kind of evergreen IP. And the thing is, Wizard, it's still not clear to me if World of Darkness ever actually outsold D&D. I've heard some mixed. I've heard that it was very close. Either it outsold D&D briefly for like a month or two, or it got really close, and that's why D&D fans got so freaked out by by Vampire, right? Because they're like, what is this? Because D&D has always been number one by a lot, not by a little, but by a lot. And Vampire either got super close that it almost overtook it, or overtook it by a little. I don't think it was ever bigger than D&D, but I think it got really close, like really close to outselling it, but I don't think it actually did. GURPS could have made a run for it if someone other than Steve Jackson was in charge of the business decisions. He's a very good businessman. And the thing is, I think he was radical sort of at one point in time. You know, they got into PDFs before hardly anyone else did, and they had their digital store before anyone else did, but they just kind of didn't, like, you can be radical in like 1 year, and then if you just stay there, then you're no longer radical. Do you know what I mean? The only game that ever ousted D&D was Pathfinder in the 4E days, which was just D&D beating itself, and D&D withdrew its... I was just reading about this. The only reason why Pathfinder beat D&D during 4E was because it was at a moment when Wizards pulled all its stock, basically pulled its stock and stopped producing new things. It was like trying to like reformulate. So Pathfinder beat D&D when D&D was not actually competing. Yeah, not to mention World of Darkness was more narrative focused, which helped perpetuate the role. Yeah, it was a whole thing. If TSR had failed, I don't know if anything could ever really beat D&D besides a D&D clone. I have a really hard time imagining, even if TSR had failed in 97. I don't know. I have a really hard time imagining anything could really beat D&D because someone would buy it, right? And they would continue to make stuff off of it. The thing is that I really believe that D&D has a number of built-in advantages that it will be really hard to ever overcome. And that would be, it was first to market. The second thing would be the name recognition that it got through the Satanic Panic and the 80s. Because look, I will tell you what, the Dragonlance novels, the video games, the cartoon, all the films, all that from these, and now all the rest of it. D&D 4E, That Go Tuesday and Beyond, had a very problematic publishing history, even apart from it driving a bunch of entrenched older players away. Yeah, and actually, I'm currently playing in a 4E game offline, although we haven't played in like a month, and I'm finding 4E super fun. Actually, I really enjoy it. I think that was Grognards being Grognards. Satanic Panic was free advert. Oh, absolutely. If TSR wasn't bought, it's possible Pathfinder would have just started early. Yeah, I think so too. Actually. Part of 4E's problem was their attempt to pivot to digital before the world and the systems were ready for that. I think that's true. I actually think that's true. Yeah, I had a lot of bad experience with 4th. I actually, look, I was actually going into it randomly for another reason. There are some super cool things in 4th edition, folks. It got rid of racial alignment, and it dealt with alignment in a way cool, like going for, like, I will tell you what, moving, because I played 1, 3, and 5. I never played 2 and 4. I played 1, 3, and 5, and now I'm playing 4. And 4th edition did some very cool things that I'm very excited about now that I'm looking into it, that I think, I mean, a lot of that stuff that's in 5e is actually from 4e, so that's interesting. But also, I think a group on 2e, 3e, then started to pigeonhole everything, yeah. Krillin says, I'll tell you, I never gave 4E a fair shot because I was pissed over their cancellation of Dragon and how they treated Paizo. That was just super shitty. Yeah, that's fair. Vo came into D&D in the late 2010s, so all this predates you. D&D would have made a ton of cash with Satanic sticker, like parental stickers. Oh, they could have, actually. And the thing about 4E is that actually, being a TTRPG baby just means you have more things to discover, and that's amazing. You get to have a whole bunch of firsts that we don't get to have, already had ours, and I'm excited for that, Vo. Wizard says, maybe, but the lead developer of the digital side of 4E committed a murder-suicide during its development. Ooh. You only played AD&D and the 5th ed. Yeah, I did 1, 3, and 5, and basic. And the thing is that there's some actually things that I think are really cool about 4th ed that I think is pretty awesome, actually. And so I'm like, hey, that's awesome. But the thing is, we don't know what it would have turned out to be if it had actually completed development without that happening. Yeah. Hey, Oprax. What I would say was that the people I know, like, you got into World of Darkness and VTM through Roll For It show, so learning about all the lore and stuff behind it was mind-blowing. Yeah, there's a lot there. There are many ways to tell a story. One of the things I want to say about D&D is that I knew people who were like D&D people, 3.5 people, and they're like, 4E is so terrible because it's nothing like D&D and the tradition of D&D, and D&D has always been the same, but 4E is so different. I was like, have you not played 1st and 2nd edition? Because 1st edition and 3rd edition are nothing like each other at all. AD&D 1E and 3rd edition D&D are not at all the same. And the shift, first AD&D 1st edition and 2nd edition, also really radically different. So from where I'm coming from, each edition is really different from the one before. There are a lot of cosmetic similarities, but they're all very, very different. And to sort of be so upset that 4th edition was so different from all the D&Ds that came before is just not true, because all the D&Ds were very, very different. And also, the people I knew who were mad at 4th edition, not Krellin, but the people I was actually gaming with, the people that I know who didn't like 4th edition that I was playing with, didn't like 4th edition for 2 reasons. This is not what they said, but this is what it was. One, they had, all the people I were playing with were super hardcore gamists, and they had memorized, they'd bought all the books, and there were a lot of splat books for 3.5. 3.5 was so splat book heavy, and they had everything, and they had memorized everything, and they knew exactly what path to take through to get that prestige class. And the like I remember I was like, yeah, I'm thinking about playing this character. Like, oh, if you're gonna play this character, there's a feat in the complete miniatures handbook on page 27 that you're gonna want, and then from the Book of Vile Darkness, you're gonna want this one feat and this one spell. Like, they had such system mastery for 3.5, and they had to give it all up for 4E, and most of them just didn't want to. They just didn't want to do it, right? And so a lot of them that I knew who were really mad about 4E were mad because they didn't want to give up their system mastery. But then the other part of the people that I knew in the same group who didn't like 4E were all magic users. They all played wizards. And they did not like that they were not more special, more powerful than everyone else in 4th edition. That made them really mad. They were like, it's not fair that basically we aren't more powerful than everyone. And so that's also why they didn't like 4E. And none of those things were really compelling arguments for me, is what I'm going to say. Yes. Krellin says, at-will abilities is the best thing 4E did, though the skillless prune was also very good. I like how they changed alignment. I thought that was pretty good. I also like that you could swap out things as you leveled up. One of the things that left a bad taste in my mouth with 4th was that when you gained new spells from leveling, you chose the spell, you were stuck with that spell. There wasn't preparing spells anymore, and you also had to buy cards. I don't think you had... I've never bought any cards, so you didn't have to buy cards. But also, every time you level up, you can swap out abilities. Vio says, I went hard into reading VTM lore, read Beckett's Jihad diary cover to cover, and I've devoured all the V5 lore supplements. Vola says, this foul, sinful experience contains philosophy, spells, curses, magic, respecting each other's and being a decent person. Chrome's like, wizards could actually change their daily power every rest. Yes. Wizard says, there's a really good blog post somewhere that goes into how the main thing that changed more dramatically between 3 and 4 was that it changed was, between 3 and 4 than it had changed before was the language. Yeah, that's true. Yes, but yeah. Crit Twitch says, I think that's what happened to Josh too, Vo. He went deep. Also, you should check out his work on Table Store if you haven't. Oh, Leech, very good. Very good. Josh over on Table Stories Leech is very good. 4E was a big whiplash for them because they were big in the crunch. Yeah. What if I want to have fun? Roller 300. Wizard. 4E switched up the presentation, the aesthetic a lot. Yeah. But it wasn't, in some ways, was making some things more upfront that was always happening. Yeah. And a number of them just went to Pathfinder because they just didn't want to actually leave 3.5, right? I've seen all of Such a Fate and Season 1 of Bleach. Yeah, it's good. Krellin, it was early in the class description. Daily and utility spells. Your spellbook also holds your daily and utility spells. Begin knowing 2 daily spells, one of which you can use on any given day. Each time you gain a level that lets you select a daily spell or utility spell, choose 2 different daily spells or utility spells of that level to add to your book. After an extended rest, you can prepare a number of daily utility spells according to what you can cast per day. By the way, we're getting there, so we're going to read this. Transmission from Ambrose Manor. I'm guessing Minnie wants an update. Patch her through.
Captain, imagine my surprise when I saw the Unreliable leaving Gorgon with so much urgency and purpose. Tell me you found Mother's journal. I'm positively dying for good news.
Not yet. Your mother's office has been sealed tight.
Too bad. But on the bright side, you've outdone my old freelancer. I don't think you made it very far at all. If I know Spacer's choice, getting past the lockdown will be more complicated than just hitting a big red button. You'll need authorization and layers of it.
That's true. I don't suppose your mother left you any passwords or mysterious key cards?
No. I think you're going to have to rely on good old-fashioned detective work.
Thanks.
It's a good thing you have keen senses, a reliable ship, and a very wealthy sponsor.
Fair. Praxis says, I had problems with 4E and 3.5, but I have problems with every edition. Well, I mean, absolutely. But for me, I try to make a distinction between problems I have that are personal problems, right? And problems I have that I think are structural problems, right? So, for example, I prefer bell curve probability. So 1d20 is less exciting to me than 3d6. But that's a personal preference, right? That's a personal preference, that's not a problem with the game. That's a personal preference. So I try to make a distinction between the things that are not my fave in D&D, that are personal preferences in terms of what I like in terms of gameplay, or things that I like better, and things that I think might be larger problems. And I actually don't think there are as many larger problems in D&D. Part of my journey, right, of reading Forge Theory has been recognizing that many of the things that I used to dislike about D&D and thought were bad about D&D are actually just bad for me. And if I just think about them differently, then they're not even that bad for me anymore. They're just a specific experience that I probably don't want to do for a long-term campaign, but am fine for short-term campaigns. And so that's been like an important part of my journey that happened in the 90s. Every D&D is terrible because every edition sucks. That's Krellin. So let's see. Are you familiar with Gorgon's old research staff?
I seem to recall that Mother worked closely with Gorgon's R&D personnel, but not close enough to invite them over for dinner and cocktails, if you get my meaning. By now, they'll have moved on with their lives. If only I could do the same.
Did you know that Gorgon was developing Adrenatime?
I knew Mother was involved with some important chemical trials, but I had no idea her pet project was Adrenatime.
It was.
Adrenatime is a working man's stimulant, like a caffeinoid. Very popular at launch, though the marketing quieted down over time.
Yeah, were you aware that Adrenatime created Marauders?
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
I mean, there's some very morbid wording in the fine print, but I had no idea Adrenatime could make marauders out of people.
Yeah.
That's it. That must be it. Spacer's Choice is keeping their dirty little secret about Adrenatime off the record.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
We have to find Mother's journal.
I know.
If we don't, then Spacer's Choice gets away with murder.
I know.
I only hope we aren't too late.
Hey, why would Spacer's Choice risk everything for a stimulant, besides the fact that they're, like, terrible capitalists?
Adrenatime was touted as the working man's best friend.
Gorgon's
A drug that boosted productivity with no adverse effects. The promise of Adrenatime cannot be overstated. Exhaustion and fatigue were supposed to be obsolete. Workplace accidents would be things of the past. For whatever reason, the drug never lived up to that promise.
Yeah. Could one drug really do all of that, though?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Thanks to Spacer's Choice, we may never find out.
Yeah.
I know that I'd like to see a colony where the promise of Adrenatime was fulfilled.
Really?
And I doubt I'm the only one.
I don't... Yeah, okay. I'm heading back out. You really know your business, Minnie.
Thank you. I certainly ought to know what I'm doing. I spent years trying to break into pharmaceuticals, professionally speaking.
Sure.
Mother wouldn't hear of it. She didn't think I had the wit to succeed in her line of work.
You're fine, though.
Safe travels.
Okay.
If your leads give you any trouble, be sure and give them some trouble back, yes?
Yeah. I'll keep that in mind. Be seeing you, Minnie.
Ta!
So, excitingly, we are here. We've got all the stuff. We have to go, though. But before we go, we're going to level up together, and then we're going to go. So, I have a lot of thoughts, and I love sharing them with you, and you all are really amazing. And I just want you to know that. Like, I just want you to know how much love and thoughts. So, here's the question. I wanted to... Do people remember what it was I was going to level up while we were here, by the way? Because I feel like it was something. I'm also going to eat some of this salt tuna. Spacer's Corona? Cigarettes. That's no good. Let's just have some salt tuna so we're not... Okay. So, what were we going to do, everyone? We were going to level up, right? In some way. What were we going to do? Do you remember? Do you remember? Let's make a drug to completely rewrite the facet of complex human biological processes. No side effects. Honestly, you're like, yeah. We're gonna go raid Mad Max. Max Rider, pardon me. Hacking or lockpicking because of one of those is still. Yes, that's right. Yes, it was hacking or lockpicking, right? I think it was. If we do hack, if we get 4 more in hack, we get up to 80, which is pretty good. And then, yeah, so let me get my hack to 80, and then we're going to do lock picking, right? Up to, see if we can get to 100. The one thing I will give forth is that it motivated me to explore other systems, which I'm grateful. Oh, yeah. So I think if we get... Yeah, we're going to do... Well, I get more weapon damage if I do sneak, but that's a lot. There's a long way to go there. Our handguns are great. We have nothing in melee. We don't do defense either because we're just really bad at defense. It's cool. Don't even worry about it. Our engineering is 50. Yeah, I think... oh, yeah, so back. I think we're going with lockpick, right? I think that's it. Lockpick, hacking, lockpick. We'll just up all of our lockpick. So yeah, we're trying to get over, because you know we are after all a hacker. So let's apply, accept. We have a perk. Y'all. Hack pick. Let's see, what is really good in a tier 3? Because we want to get good things. This is increases science weapon damage, which I think we could ignore for now. More damage when we're low in health, which armor bonuses. All area affecting plasma damage is dealt to you is reduced, which could be good actually. That could be good. Melee damage returned as health. No, because I'm not particularly melee. Movement speed. I don't need that. Whenever I'm affected by a harmful combat effect, I increase my damage. That could be good, right? That could be a good one. Improvised weapon, not interesting. Concentrated fire. Any subsequent attack made on the same target while in the dilation increases damage. That looks good too. So I think we go with either the one where we get extra damage when we have a harmful combat effect, because we've had quite a bit of that, or we go for this concentrated fire. I feel like those are all really good, right? I mean, that seems good. It feels like. I mean... Yes. I mean, we can also up our science damage quite a lot, but I don't know if we need to do that. Should we? Should we go for science weapons, everybody? Is that a thing we should be going for? Do we like them? What do we think? You get effects by not eating enough, right? So take that one. Which one? Oh. Okay, we'll take that one. Negative... Reduced by harmful combat effect. Yes, we'll take that one. That's the one. Okay. I mean, the thing is, I might use science weapons if I took those perks, but we're just gonna apply this. We're gonna accept it. Boom. And I feel like that's great. Our reputation is awesome, and I don't think anyone else in our party has any skill ups to speak of, which means we're gonna save. Oh, nope, sorry, wrong, sorry, back. All right, so let us save the game. No, you need to spec deep into science to use science weapons. Oh. Oh. Well, that's no fun. That's no fun. All right. You know what I didn't tell you? I didn't tell you the last thing I wanted to tell you. I've been working on a new overlay, which you can see here. And I sometimes go back to the old overlay, but I'm working on like transitioning to my audio stuff and working on new overlays. And I'm working on this new thing that I've been working on, which allows me to make overlays in a different way, which I think makes things faster. Which, by the way, it did last night when I had to put together a whole thing in like basically an hour. I think I was able to do that faster because of this new method that I'm using. And I think it'll be much, much faster for if I'm just running like if I had to do like a one-shot RPG, I had like short notice to a one-shot RPG with like 4 people. I think it'll be much, much faster to put that together. I've got to work out a special thing, and if I can work that thing out, then I think everything will be much, much faster. I just have to work that out, and yeah, I'm working on it. I've got to see what is going to be the most what will be the most efficient. So let's see. Sorry I got here late. No worries. Look, it's been wonderful being with you all. We're going to raid Max Ryder is what we're going to do, because Max Ryder is awesome, and we're going to raid him because he is currently. So don't forget our raid command, so that we can give Max Ryder some love. Max Ryder's playing some Minecraft, and we're going to raid him. And I think this is our command here. Thank you for nerding out with me. I had a really lovely time, and I'm going to see you all. Here's where we're going to see each other. So tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern over at Praxagora the Semaphoria's channel, we will be doing Witcher Roads Home, so you can see me there. Next Wednesday at 8 p.m. over at Laugh Love Lindy's channel, 8 p.m. Eastern, you can show up for the very first session of Upon the Hexhamshire Moors, which is a Good Society game using Emma Forget-Me-Not. We're going to be doing a session 0, so you can see actually how that works. And then you can see me on Friday for City of Light and Shadow, a duo episode with Little Red Dot and Laugh Love Lindy. And that is where you can see me. And let's see. You can find me on YouTube at Trooper SJP, here, Trooper SJP, on Twitter at Academic Foxhole. Also, I've got a Patreon at Academic Foxhole, which goes to pay for the cast, any other sort of specifically RPG-related expenses. I only use it for RPGs. And if you pick the Word from Our Sponsor tier, then an ad will be aired for you during that month, 1 week that month, for whatever show that I'm running that is made special for you. And we have a Discord. You should join it. That said, I am going to go and eat some food, but we're going to raid first. And let's go and raid Max Ryder. So, thank you, everybody, and I will catch you all on the flip side. Bye, everybody.